Welcome everyone to the DweeBros Catcast.
Catcast.
What's up?
This is our new gamer kitty. What's our favorite consoles? Let's just talk favorite consoles on the new kitty. What's the kitty's name?
Console, JoJo.
JoJo.
You've only been alive for like 4 months. You probably don't. PlayStation 5.
The generation.
Hey, I will say, okay, on the PS5, not to dive right into gamer talk, that controller makes noise, and this cat freaks out when it's making noise, and it's constantly making noise.
Yeah,
it's always trying to get at the controller. Like, I've never had that problem.
It thinks it's a toy. It's like it's going to keep messing.
Yeah, it thinks it's a toy. Yeah.
So we talk cats, we talk gamer cats, gamer dogs, gamer hamsters. But we also talk TV shows and movies. Welcome to the DweeBros podcast. I am your host, Zach, aka DweeBo, joined by the excellent Jacob.
How you guys doing? Welcome.
And the magnificent Travis.
I like these surnames. What's going on?
He's buttering us up. He's about to hit us with something.
Yeah, I'm about to hit you with something. You know what I'm about to hit you with? The next generation. I'm no longer Zach 1.0. I'm Zach 2.0. And even our consoles got an upgrade.
That's true. They did.
We're at the PS5, the Xbox One X, Series X, 2.0 X.
And the new generation, the 9th generation.
Can I talk about GameStop?
Let's jump right into it. Jacob's GameStop. Wait, not woes. It's a wins.
It's a win.
Yeah, I ran to the nearest GameStop. I'm like, do you have those games? Like, no, we're actually sold out. They gave me like $13 for it. Oh, yeah. Freak GameStop,
dude. Ladies and gentlemen, GameStop is a magnificent place. Not in the sense of like, it's a great company, because honestly, I think it's not. But in terms of the chaos that exists in its customer service realm. My wallet got stolen, guys. You know, that's like the worst thing in the world. I'm gonna be completely honest with you. Having your wallet taken is the worst. Canceled all my cards. I did the adult thing. And then in my head, I was like, oh, the PS5 drops this Thursday. I'm not going to get a PS5. So what does any gamer do? They hit DEFCON 5.
Yeah, that's what gamers do.
They contact the retailer. And I'm like, I'm gonna fix this out. I'm gonna fix all this. I'm gonna figure it out. So I got a hold of my little brother. He gave me a card to use just until I got my new ones back, and I paid him back. So I called GameStop, and I'm gonna be responsible here. Hey, this is Jacob. Just trying to fix my order. Here's my order number. I'm not gonna tell you the name for the sake of confidentiality, but I get a hold of a really nice lady, and she's like, "Sir, doesn't look like we have any issues on our end. Looks like your shipment's gonna be shipping on Thursday, and we haven't charged you yet." And I sat there and told her, like, no, you're not listening to me. My wallet was stolen. You're going to charge me, and it's not going to go through. And I do not, listen to me, I do not.
Because at this point, you're spooked that you're not going to get the shipment.
Yeah, I was like, I do not want to get screwed over and not get my PS5. No, sir, we look good. Everything on our end's looking great. If we'll contact you in 24 hours if we have an issue. Okay, that's fine. I hung up. So fast forward to the next day, I didn't get a phone call. Go figure. So I decided to call again. I get a hold of a male this time. Hey, welcome to GameStop. We start talking. I'm just like, look, I got an email saying they tried to charge me. Obviously, it didn't go through. I called yesterday. Here's who I spoke to. They told me this was going to happen, but they didn't listen. And I'm like ready. I did customer service for a while. I know how to navigate this bull crap. And then he gets back on the phone. I give him my card information to charge the new card. And he's like, sir, I showed that we charged your card already. The one that was on file and it was successful. You'll have your shipment on Thursday. And I was like, no, you're not hearing me. I got an email saying you tried to charge my card and it didn't go through, and my shipment has not shipped. Like, I want my PS5. Sir, it's been shipped. You're already good. You'll see it Thursday. I hang up, and at this point, I text
so you don't know if you're getting it.
Go ahead.
I texted the group chat. This is a 50-50 right now, guys. I don't know what's going to happen. Like, I'm screwed. Like, this is what it is. I'm either getting it or I'm not. Wednesday rolls by, and I get an email saying, your shipment has shipped. I checked my account. I didn't get charged. Well, that's bullcrap. There's no way. There's no way they'd send me this. No way. Nope. Thursday rolls around. I get a notification. Your PS5 has been delivered. I got a PS5 for free.
For $0.
For $0. Not only that, I got the
That's a
advanced
good price.
bundle.
I want to
edition.
say that's a good deal.
You know what? Jacob, when I was growing up, I had a buddy, and he had a grandpa that had some kidney issues, right?
Yeah.
And my buddy was worried about his grandpa. He was an older guy, but his grandpa said, "Don't worry about me," because like the donor list is long. Don't worry about me.
Mm-hmm.
I asked my buddy the next Monday. I was going into a weekend. Hey, how's your grandpa doing? He said, these two guys picked him up from the Mason's temple, and he came back 2 days later, and he's done. Like he's got his surgery, everything. And ever since then, I call this Mason luck. This is right here. This is like the mob. Like, oh, you'll be fine, Jacob. Trust me. Things fall off of trucks all the time. Everything's gonna be fine. Your card's charged. It's gonna show up. Like, I think you're hooked up. I think you're connected, and I think you've been holding out on us. I think that you've got some kind of connection with Masons or the Knights Templar.
It might be
society connections, because you called and the guy's like, "Oh, he's part of the." Okay, no, trust me, buddy. Your card's fine.
It very well
cool.
It's might be the Knights of the Templar, but it also could be that, Jacob, you got in the craziest window of the card getting canceled. Mm-hmm. Everything was good on your end. Like you called and tried to make it right or whatever, but like the card, and they saw that as like, hey, the card got stolen. Let's cancel the last couple transactions during this period or whatever. And that just you somehow made a magic, like, in Star Wars when they go through like the crevice or in like a sci-fi thing and they turn the ship and they go right in there. That's what happened. So
I definitely hit the crevice
for you.
Yeah.
Now I can't believe GameStop's going out of business. How could this be happening?
I tried to give them my money, guys. I really did. I went out of my way to give them my money. But they were like, "No, we want you to we want you to experience the next level of gaming," and that's what we did. Because every single one of us got a PS5, did we not?
I did.
I had to pay for mine, but
I got mine from
Sony wanted me to have a review copy. That's why I got mine for free.
Yeah, that's true. Because DweeBros is blowing up.
Go to our Patreon, fund us. I'm just kidding. We don't.
Hold on, wait.
Jacob, help Jacob out.
Wait.
Yeah.
I have to get something. I have to go to the other room and get something, because this is the real next gen. But it's in the other room, so you guys are just gonna have to wait 1 second
until you get back.
Okay.
Well, I guess we're just. Now I'm excited.
It's going to be a police officer. He's going to read you your rights.
Yeah, that's what's going to happen. Hey, he's got GameStop officials. He tipped them off.
There's going to be a lawyer after lawyer in a line.
Oh my gosh, that would be my luck. That would be my luck.
Oh, you're so screwed.
Is it a PSP? Is it a portable PS4? I'm trying to guess what he would bring us. Oh,
he's got it.
Speaking of review copies of consoles, I was sent a very highly anticipated shipment.
Oh no. Is this not what
And this is the real start of next gen. I have been invited to review for the DweeBros Stadia Premier Edition.
Wow.
And I will be doing an unboxing, and I will be playing this, because this is a great product. It will definitely last 3 years from summer of 2019. We're halfway there, boys. We're halfway there.
That's gonna be a relic next year.
So I can't wait to get my hands on this controller. Look at those sticks.
That looks awful.
Look, it's got 5 share buttons. It's got 5 start buttons.
It looks so smooth. Like, I don't know how that sits.
I know it looks smooth. I honestly, DualSense. Who needs it?
Yeah, who needs it?
So I'll be doing. It includes a Chromecast Ultra.
Ooh, you got a Chromecast for free.
And a controller, and I really, actually, truly got this for free. So,
what was the deal? I saw people putting in our group.
The deal was if you have YouTube ad free and you're an influencer, which I am.
Oh, okay.
You can get. They just send you this.
Nice.
This was sent to me, so I will be reviewing this as part of our next gen.
Man, everybody's got sponsored this week. I did receive an email for the DweeBros channel. Some people looked out and they're like, "Hey, you should review our gear." But here's the thing: I've got recent emails through our channel. This is some backdoor deals. I got one a little while ago. I don't know if I ever talked on the podcast, but they wanted the channel. They reached out to me email and they said, will you review this like comb? It's like a really good comb. And I just ignored it because I was like, we're a gaming channel. I didn't say anything. This person sent 4 follow-up messages every like 4 days.
Why aren't we doing this?
Finally,
Let's review the code.
I could use it.
It was so just incessant that I just was so curt with them. I said, yeah, send me one. I'll review your comb. I'll review it. You send it to me. And they wrote back. They were like, they sent a GIF back and it was like a sad GIF. And it said, actually, you'll have to buy it and then you review it. I went, yeah, I ain't doing that. I just literally was so curt. I was like, then what's the point? I think it was a 10% discount code to buy the thing to review for them. And it was like,
oh my god.
What? So not a good
guys,
not a good,
I'm gonna tell you, the landscape of YouTube is something else.
I got the short end of the stick. Jacob got PS5, you got a Stadia at least, but I got
maybe you'll get invited to the Amazon Luna project.
It's not even really clear who got a better deal, me or Jacob. So
yeah, no, we don't
or
know
me
yet.
with the comb. The comb could have been
Well,
that was a
we
good
could
deal.
talk. We could talk
10% off of a comb I didn't want.
We could talk Stadia later. We probably want to talk about what we have currently.
Yeah.
Current gen. That's our
the
PlayStation
comb.
5s.
Yeah, the PlayStation.
yeah, we'll talk about 9th gen, and really this is kind of like 10th gen on because that's the final
is Stadia
gen.
9th gen? I think Stadia is in the 9th gen, right?
Stadia is the final gen because it's just cloud. But yeah, I mean,
I think it is considered 9th gen. Luna's definitely 9th gen.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
Yeah, so we got a PlayStation 5. I put up a little unboxing video you can check out on the channel. It just was just me seeing how big this thing was. It is ginormous. I knew it was going to be big. It did end up fitting horizontal, at least in my setup that I have.
yeah, I was able to do it, but I just think it looks better vertical. So I just
It does look good vertical.
Mine's horizontal.
I've been seeing people set up and they have it next to the TV, and it looks like 2020. It's like what I picture 2020 looking like back in 2000. You know what I mean? Like
it does look different.
That looks like the future. No, but I really love the design of it. The controller I want to talk about for a second before we get into games and stuff because well, maybe we'll go into games. The controller I heard before launch, it was like, oh, there's all these rumbles and you can feel the feedback and whatever. And I didn't even know about the triggers, really. I just was seeing vibrations. And you know what my mind went to? I don't know if you guys remember this. HD Rumble on the Switch.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
And that turned I didn't even think about how that was just such a, it wasn't terrible, the HD Rumble, but it never stuck with me, right?
It never stuck with me. And I wasn't a big 1-2 switch guy, which was one of the better implementations.
Yeah.
And in fact, I had a game called Fast RMX or something. It was like a launch. It was, Jacob, it was a launch digital launch title. It was a digital launch title. And it had the worst haptics. It felt like a bee stinging your hand every time you hit the turbo on that game. So that's kind of been my big thing is like, okay, how will other people then?
Yeah, Nintendo talked it up forever. Like you can feel like you're drinking water and stuff. So PlayStation came out with the same stuff, and I was like, okay, I'm just down for the new graphics. I wrote off the Rumble. Astrobot, I think we all played Astrobot, the Playroom.
Yes.
That starts, and I think there's a message pops up and says, this game is to show you what the controller can do. And I'm like, okay, whatever. So I go in blind on this thing. Oh my gosh. I was flabbergasted how amazing this controller felt. Yeah. How do you even program for like getting on ice? It feels like you're on ice. When you're on rocky terrain, it feels like rocky terrain. There's like these kind of like capsule toys you can get, and when you like hold the controller, I was like, wait a second, and that was the first time I even knew it had that, and I clicked it and I was like, it's not working. Oh, and I pressed, it was like press hard, and I pressed harder,
like break
and it broke it, and it felt like I broke the thing, and I was like,
Yeah.
This is
Or like the springs when you like clamp the springs down and it launches you. and-
yes. So all that shocked me. I was flabbergasted that they talked about it for months and I just totally wrote it off. But man, that
It's very
has to be playing
immersive.
around with-
Especially the skating stuff. Like it feels like a little ice skate in your
yeah,
hands.
it's
It
like
is-
little vibrations. There's a part too when like robots are in the controller and they're like, move them out or get them out or whatever. And you move them to the left and it's like, oh yeah, there's robots in this controller. And it like tricks your brain and like, yeah, there's stuff in this controller right now. And man, there's some crazy stuff you could probably do. I started getting excited for the next Kojima game with this thing.
Oh yeah.
Like what's he gonna do?
Because like he did little stuff like the baby crying and Death
Yeah.
Stranding,
Yeah.
but like what he could really do with this is
Yeah. So
I
I
think
think
for
controller
me-
feels amazing.
Yeah.
Even just the outside of the new stuff, I think it just is a beefier version of the PS4 controller. I just have always loved the feel of the PlayStation controller.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I will say for bigger hands, I like it. I know I had my wife play it a little bit, and it was almost a little bit too big for her hands.
It is a big
and
controller.
it
It's
found
heavy.
myself saying if you have kids or if you have like if you're a person with small hands,
Yeah.
you actually could have trouble. My wife was having trouble actually just playing. I wanted to show her Astros, and she's like, I don't know how to hold this thing.
I want to go on
So-
record. This is the heaviest controller I have held
Yeah,
in a long, long time.
yeah.
It is very heavy.
So not that that's a bad thing. I mean, for
No,
me,
it's
it's good.
not.
I got big hands, but
Um,
it is tricky to
And they
hold
probably
with this.
not only with that new Rumble feedback, but I think the battery. I think they beefed up the battery because.
It only lasts like 6 hours though. That's what's the
But
crap
I think
part.
it's lasting more than the PS4s than what the PS4s was. But
It's
I've heard so many different things.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I can tell you. Here's my thoughts. I love the design of it. I love the way it's it's a cool abstract art kind of thing for me. I think Sony went artish, like artistic when they designed the console.
yeah,
They wanted to be a
That's gonna
centerpiece.
grab
They wanted to stand out in your entertainment stand. They wanted it to look different. That was their goal. And I think they accomplished that. It looks really nice. There's the controller. If you guys are watching on video, it looks really, really awesome. My biggest complaints with the PS5, and there's only a couple. One is the heaviness of the controller.
I like a sturdy thing. I like a.
See,
just
I
wanna
do
grip it,
too.
like a
But
barbell.
like, I feel like I'm constantly, if I'm holding it like this, I can't do it. Like, I don't enjoy it. Like, I normally like to relax with it.
Okay.
And it does feel a bit heavier. It's just a heavier controller. I'm not
I
saying
guess
it's
I
a
didn't
bad thing.
notice the weight. Interesting.
It is just heavier. It's a slightly heavier controller.
Start doing lifts with it, man.
Yeah,
Like
start
this.
doing dumbbell lifts with it
Dumbbell
and start working out with it. That's fine. The other thing is I've probably put about 25 hours into my PS5 already. I've spent a good amount of time on it. I've 100% in a game already. Like I've put some time into it. The controller, and maybe I don't know, but it's weird. I have a little of a dark tint growing on the back of the handles. It's like slightly darker than the rest of the controller.
Wash your hands.
I do wash my hands. I actually I like Clorox wipe my stuff. Like I keep them pretty clean. So I was like, that's really weird because I swap controllers out because I have two of them because the battery life is so bad. I swapped the controllers out, and I just was like, I just noticed that was happening. I'll have to send you guys a picture to show you. But it was just weird. It was really odd to me.
Weird.
But other than that,
It's
it's a great
interesting because
console.
it feels high quality material, but anytime you have something white that you're touching, with
Well,
the oils
and
with
I
your
was looking as
hands.
he was talking. There are new grips now,
Mm-hmm.
and I think
Those
they're
grips, they're little PlayStation.
They're little
icons.
PlayStation,
Little
yeah.
circle, square.
Yeah, I thought that was really
Which
cool.
I thought that's really cool. That's
it's
a
on
cool
the
little.
it's on the console as well, but yeah, there's little grips on the controllers now, or on the grip.
Let me ask you guys a question. So we're kind of going through the different pieces of the box. As far as the UI and the software, I have liked it a lot, but I will also caveat that with I have not tried at all to integrate my PS4 library and saves with my PS5. I just started fresh. I'm sure one day I'll want to pull a save over and then I'll have to figure this out. But I have heard it's clunky.
No.
So specifically in that you don't always know if you have the PS4 version of a game and you bring it over and there's a PS5 version available, it gets really clunky, I've heard.
Oh, I didn't do it.
And I've also heard that the trophies aren't the same. So if you start it again on PS5, you don't your trophies don't add up. And it's just, I've heard it's really the more games you start, and every game does it a little differently. I've just heard it gets like a big mess really fast, but I haven't done any of that stuff yet. So Zach, it sounds like it hasn't been a problem for you. For people that I've looked at, that I've seen people show videos of, like, I don't know what the hell's going on with my library. I've got this game is a PS4 and a PS5 version. This one's the next gen version. This one is both of them together. This one, the trophies are split. This one, the trophies are together. This one, my save's not compatible. Like, it makes me think that when Xbox talked about smart delivery, that is one thing it seems like they got right this generation of. It is just your game is your game. There are no different versions. You know, either there's a patch or there's
I started playing Persona 5 Royal again. I have not touched that game in forever. And I was like, oh yeah, my save's on my old PS4 Pro. So that's in the living room. So I went, plugged in a USB drive, because at first when I got my PS5, it said, do you want to like transfer everything over from the PS4? And I was like, I wonder if it's faster now, because it was going to do it wirelessly. It's like, hey, just turn on your PS4 Pro. I did that in the other room. I was going in between different rooms or whatever. And it said, okay, select what you want to do. And I was like, I selected a certain game, certain whatever. And I clicked go. And it said, all right, 15 hours. And I was like, well, that's too long. And I was like, well, I don't need the games or whatever. Like, that's too whatever. So I just did the saves. And the saves stuff I had, it still was like 9 hours. Like, you'll be back. And I was like, I'm not going to do that. So I went and plugged a USB drive, copied all, and just put it on that USB drive, came back in and plugged it in and did all that stuff, and it just copied it over, and it just took a little bit.
So I could do that for my save data. It's just
I got all the save data and left everything else. You could just
I don't need anything but the save data.
That would probably be the move, Travis. Because I don't want to bring everything over on my PS5. The only thing I would want to bring over is my Spider-Man save file, because I want to go back and play the Spider-Man remastered. So I'll bring over my Spider-Man data, but other than that, I'm not bringing anything else over.
Yeah, it's easy just to bring all stuff over. Unfortunately, PT is dead. The dream is dead. People were wondering, is it going to work? And there was like, some people saying, oh yeah, it might work, it might not, or whatever, but it does not work.
There was a press release from Kojima, actually, and I heard about this and made me laugh. There's a press release from, not Kojima, from Konami, and people were asking PR, they were inundated by, is this going to work? Yeah. And they released a press statement, and it didn't say the words PT in it, but it said, for PS4 legacy content that is not shipping for PS5, blah, 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 will not be supported unless it is a retail game. And then it said this, it said, for people who want to play the content, it will not be available any longer. And people were all like, oh, the content. It like set up all these different things. And then for anything that doesn't fall into these branches of things, is called the content, and it's like not happening. So.
Redacted.
So they are not letting you play the content.
But yeah, I love the UI of it. Everything's really snappy.
Yeah.
When I was doing stuff with the PS4 Pro, whatever, trying to even like when I was like playing a PS4 game, whatever, it's night and day with the SSD. So I am just so thankful. Demon Souls, we'll get in that later, but Demon Souls load, like these games are so freaking fast in the loading.
Yeah. To the extent that I don't use rest mode right now because of that glitch that was going around. Yeah. I just turn it off, and I don't even really care because I boot it up and I'm in the game pretty quick anyway.
That is
everything's worked good for me so far.
You guys use that like hint feature at all?
No, I have not.
I checked out Demon Souls thing, and it just says like, watch out, there's toxic people in this area, whatever.
Oh, does it really?
Yeah, there's like a little videos, but I think people were worried because there's a hardcore nature around Demon Souls. It is so generalized. I haven't seen anything that shows you like, here's the weak point of the boss or whatever yet. Yeah. But there might be some of that.
Well, even if there is, I don't think that's the worst.
I don't think it's worse either. But I was interested in how they can implement it in this.
I for real was I was so impressed with Bug Snacks, which is a game we'll talk about later. I actually got really stuck on one of the quests. It was saying like, go to this area and, grab 7 individual different types of snacks or whatever, which we'll explain the game and you'll know what that means. But I could only find 6 of them. I could not find the 7th one. Or no, that's not what it is. But it told me to do something with a bunger and make it do this.
Bunger.
And I was like, I don't know how to do this. And so I was like, you know what? I've been trying to figure it out for 10 minutes. I opened it up, hint, look, and it said, okay, here's what you do with bungers. You do this, and then they do this, and then that's how you do it. I said, oh, okay, that makes sense. And then I did it, and I was like, that was awesome. I got my answer in 20 seconds. I didn't have to pick up my phone, didn't have to go to my computer. So I was pretty sold on it just from that.
Yeah,
I haven't used it yet.
I think that's a good feature.
Next time,
because
if you're stuck
also-
on something and you can't figure out like what you want to do. Also, I have used on Bug Snacks also that feature that shows you how much longer there is in a quest. So like I was going around that game, the setup of it is you go and you do different things with different people and you ask them questions and stuff. I was playing and it was getting kind of late and I was like, okay, there's like these 3 different people I could talk to. I don't feel like playing for like another 30 minutes, but like, let me look if any of these quests are actually close to wrapping up. And one was like 40 minutes and one was 30 minutes. And then one was 8 minutes left. I was like, oh, I can go do this one. And I went, sure enough, like 10 minutes later, I was done with that quest. And I was like, oh, that was awesome. Like I played a little bit longer than I probably would have otherwise, or otherwise it might've made me stay up later than I was planning. And so pretty cool.
Yeah, that's a killer feature because too, I think picking up the phone, I even have tried to do it because I just sometimes I'll just have my phone near me and I'm like, oh, it's loading. And I'll pick up my phone and it'll be loaded. And it's like,
Yep.
I need to like break that habit because on the last gen when it's loading on that hard drive, yeah, you had time to like check Twitter.
You had at least a minute.
But now you don't even have 5 seconds. You are in the game. So that is cool that is right there. You can plug and get those hints.
How were loading times in some of the PS4 games you guys have been playing?
Better.
Yeah, they're better. It's not optimized. Obviously, it's not for me. It's not like, but it's quicker. I loaded into, well, we'll talk about it in a little bit.
Yeah, I've been playing Persona 5 Royal, and I was wondering that, and it cuts. Watched a video like, what's the average time, whatever, and it was showing like it took off half the time loading. So if it took like 9 seconds, 4.5 seconds, or whatever, but like for all these different things, but yeah. Like you said, it's not optimized. I was even like, come on, like they were just, the menu was taking too long.
You get like,
I'm spoiled.
You get spoiled, yeah.
But and I checked, they 4K upscaled it on my. I think that's for every game because I don't think
they're all upscaled.
Persona didn't have an update.
Does it look visually better than it did when you played it on the PS4 Pro?
It looks. It doesn't look like it's like pixelated.
Is it 60 frames?
I don't know. I don't know how to. I don't think
so. It's not a performance upgrade. It's not a performance upgrade. I'll tell you that right now.
Demon Souls looks so smooth.
Yeah.
Oh, so you two have been playing Demon Souls?
Yeah. Let's talk Demon Souls.
Yeah.
Travis, why don't you start us out because this is like I feel like you're one of your best.
Well, I mean, I should preface like I've probably played it the least of you or even
oh my
the other
gosh. I guess I'm the
list.
Demon Souls expert now.
But yeah, Demon Souls, that's the first Souls game I played, and unlike Zach, who was blessed to have a friend like me that was like, hey, you should play this game. Like, I found that game at GameStop and bought it because it looked kind of cool, and then I tried it and didn't get very far and then didn't play it again for 3 years. And then like later I was like, man, that game was hard, but I'm like better at games now. I hear people talk about Dark Souls. I should try this one again. And I did it and I had a lot of fun. And that was what started me off on playing those games. So,
as a veteran, what do you think of this game, the whole remake?
I think it is the same exact game. Like it is.
It really is.
It is literally. I've kind of gone back, and I know Blue Point, they don't ever really call what these are. This is a remaster. I mean, like, I'm sorry. Like, I mean that it is the furthest, in my opinion, it is almost more remaster than it is remake, in that it is the furthest you can push a remaster.
Yeah.
But it's like the same as like Halo Combat Evolved, not in its quality, but just in terms of they touched everything aesthetically, they touched everything music and audio and re-recorded dialogue, but it is the same exact game in terms of the maps, in terms of the combat. They actually, I don't know if you guys are aware, I watched a developer documentary. Blue Point's method is when they do Shadow of the Colossus, when they did this, and then other ones that they're going to do, when they start, they go to the original game's code. And first thing they do is they get the original game working on the hardware they're going to use. So they got Demon Souls running on a PS5 dev kit. That's how they started. And then what they do is they decide, after playing it and getting it working, what is the most important thing to this game? What's its heart and soul? And so for Demon Souls, they decided that the heart and soul of the game was the combat and the AI. So they took the combat and the AI and they put it in like a digital, like in like guardrails, and said, nobody freaking touch that. Everything else is fair game, but do not touch the AI and do not touch the map design in terms of the layout, and do not touch the AI.
You can tell they didn't touch it.
But everything else, animations, they touched up, voice lines, visually. And so it's interesting in that, like, I have certain aesthetic. Let's just call it for what it is. This game is immaculately good looking. And I would say it is 98% faithful in all the ways I would want a Demon Souls remake to be faithful. And I even think some of the decisions they made, like the Gothic in Demon Souls, the castles are more like drab and like plain looking. And I kind of like that. But in this one, they made them more Gothic, like Bloodborne. They took a lot of inspiration from Bloodborne on certain things in this that I think was an interesting decision. And I think it works. But I like it a lot. To me, if I recommend someone play this, I feel like I'm recommending them play the original Demon Souls, like, except better looking and marginally more accessible in that you don't like get stuck with items left out. You can send them back to the stockpile, Thomas. And because
that is a new change, huh?
And the original one, if you went to pick something up and you didn't have carrying capacity, you had to leave it, and if it wouldn't be there when you came back, so you just lost that item.
Yeah, so that's taken from Bloodborne too, as well.
Yeah,
Bloodborne, you can't get the item; it just disappears.
The only thing,
no, I think you can store it, Jacob, because I would store blood vials all the way. I stacked them.
You can store blood vials.
How do you store it?
Go back to like where the doll is, and there should be like a chest up in that house.
You can stack them.
Yeah. It sends stuff to that chest when you overflow. So if you have over 20,
I didn't know that.
Just go to the house. You probably got a bunch of blood vials.
What the poop?
So all that being said, because I don't want to, we got a lot of other things we want to get to.
Yeah,
I love Demon Souls, and I'm loving this remake. I think it's great. I will say, like, now that I have played a lot of these games, I'm not red pilled the way Zach is towards this game, where he's like, this game sucks, or this game's not that you think it sucks, but I think that this game holds up. I think it's got strengths. I think it's got weaknesses. But I'm glad this exists. Like, this is the way to play this game. Probably the only thing about this remake I am really not happy about is what they've done to the boss music soundtrack. The original Demon Souls, the soundtrack is like very stripped back. Like, it's not an orchestra. It's like a tuba and like two violin players and and they have these really like very weird arrangements of like,
it's always someone go, oh.
Yeah, it's just like weird music, and it fits. Like, all these bosses feel like these weird, like, what is going on in this room? There's this giant thing with a bird on its head and a knife sticking out of his belly, and they play this weird music. And in this one, and I was feeling weird watching the documentary when they talked about how they made it, and when they got to this, I was like, I don't think I'm gonna like this, but I'm gonna try, and I don't. Is they tried to pick out like the core, like the very basic melody of those songs, and they Bloodborned it. Like, they got a choir and an organ and 100-piece orchestra, and every single boss theme is like da, 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 da. And if you go back, I'm telling you, if you go back and listen, like Phalanx original soundtrack and then new Phalanx, they don't sound like the same piece of music, and it just loses the atmosphere. So that's the only thing to me is some of the musical choices. Like, it's not bad music, it's just not unique, and the game had unique music and it's lost. And that is still to this day one of the things I say I love about Demon Souls more than any of the others is I love that soundtrack. I love every one of those boss themes stuck with me. Also, there's just certain lines that it's like they didn't even try to. There's a line that this guy says is, "You've got a heart of gold, don't let them take it from you." Right? Like, that's how he says it in the original, and in the new one he's like, "You've got a heart of gold, don't let them take it from you." And it's like, what is happening? Or there's another guy that's like, "You come back alive, I need your business." That's how he says it in the original. And the new one, he's like, "Come back alive, I need your business."
That's
it's
funny.
like, and they got the same actors. It's just like they took that level of like really weird, like, who are these weird people talking to me? And they ramped it down by like 20% in a way that only someone like me that loved the original is going to nitpick. Someone who's never played it will never give a flip. But
I had only beat it once, and I knew you were going to pick out more stuff than I did because I didn't remember some of the stuff. But that's interesting. Yeah, I'm having a okay time with it. There is still that good high that you get from when you finally fight a boss or whatever. That feeling is great. But Travis, what you said is how I feel. It is a PS3 game.
It is.
When I played
PS3 game.
When I played the freaking valley, what's it? The Depraved Valley?
Valley of Defilement.
Valley of Defilement. I should come up with some of these names for these levels.
That's funny.
I kept falling off the edge, and it kept doing it. Like I was right by the edge, and then I would just kaplunk. Like the physics would just take me down. I was like, and that happened so many times, like randomly, and just weird stuff where it's like, yeah, it's a PS3 game. Like you can just feel the roughness, but it has the prettiest new coat. Like it looks,
it's
ungodly
so
beautiful.
They just painted
it's
it. They
so
painted
weird.
over it.
It literally is I was walking around the outside of the mine area, and that was kind of an ugly area in the original game, the outdoors. And in this, it looks like an Uncharted like level. Like there's like an Egyptian like city on the horizon, and there's cave formations. And I'm looking, and it's like the HDR, and I'm like, this might be the best looking like skybox I've seen. Like this is unbelievable looking. And
like high
but
level.
then like it is. I think I feel like they did a little bit of work polishing. Like the animations are a lot better than they were in the original.
Oh god,
the animations are pretty good in this.
The animations they totally changed.
But you are right. Like it is a little floaty, probably around some of the edges of things sometimes. Yeah. And it's interesting. Like I was wondering, I was like, how would people? This is a launch title.
Yeah.
If people don't know this is like a remake or a remaster, like what would be people's experience? I actually have a friend. I recommended that he buy it, and I wasn't even sure how this would work out. I actually recommended it to him, and then we didn't talk for a while. And then when he got his PS5, he's like, that Demon Souls game, I think I'm going to buy it. And I didn't make like a super hard sell. I just said, I loved it. But it's really hard. He's like, how hard is it? I was like, it's hard. I said, but you can beat it. I said, I'm confident anybody who wants to spend time with the game can beat it. It's not like the impossible Mario levels where it's just obscene. Like
I think I know what friend you're talking about.
Yeah. And so he ended up buying it, and he's progressed further than I am right now.
Yeah. He's actually, his thing is just like, it's all about the dopamine. He needs the right amount of dopamine to play the game, and he gets it by beating bosses. So
they're an acquired taste, but I feel like I could recommend this even with it being a PS3 game. I feel like if someone's never played one of these games, I think it might be the one I would recommend. I don't know. I think everybody's got different reasons they would recommend different ones, but I think
I started with Demon Souls per your recommendation. I quit at the Armored Spider, but the way my brain works, I can't give up on anything. I took it back out of the freaking case. I was like, yes, we're freaking
you were going to sell it, weren't you?
Yeah, I was like, I'm done. I'm selling it. And I was punching walls. I was so mad. I was like, I'm done with this game. Nope, can't do that. I'm not going to let it beat me. And I put it back in and beat it.
Aren't you happy though that you did? Because you've gotten to play all these other games. You'd be missing this entire layer of gaming.
I came back to this game after beating all the Souls games. I've even played the other From game, the Sekiro and a lot of this other stuff, Bloodborne. Coming back now, I respect it even more for it's a foundation. It's like the Ocarina of Time of this.
It sets the foundation.
It sets this whole genre up. Just like Ocarina of Time created 3D locking on stuff. But guess what? We got Breath of the Wild. We got better Zelda games. That's kind of how I feel about the Souls game coming back to it. I feel like later Souls game, I think Dark Souls 2, I prefer that one to the, if we're talking about just the Souls, whatever.
Yeah.
And coming back to this, I'm like, one thing I was kind of bummed about, and we've had back and forth, me and Travis, of like the grass. Because I think they implemented a new thing. You can only hold so much grass in this one. Whereas
they made it weigh a little bit more.
Yes. So I already hated the grass system, and they made it worse than better.
Isn't that funny that everybody that I was seeing was saying grass was too exploitable, and you felt like you didn't have enough of it playing the game?
So what happened was I finally was able to bank them on that Valley of Defilement because I kept dying. So I kept having to fight the same freaking goblin things. I banked a bunch of them, and I had enough souls, and I kept whatever. All that to be said, my problems with this game are somewhat problems with the entire genre of these games. So what I just did, I beat the level 4-2. There's giant freaking, what are the stingrays flying in there?
Yeah, stingrays and Grim Reapers. And
you mentioned something in our group chat I want to talk and bring out to the podcast, but you mentioned something, you said, and I thought this was interesting. You were saying that you feel like you dominate these games, and Jacob, you can maybe jump in on Bloodborne, maybe because you kind of there's the same string of gameplay happening.
Yeah.
Travis, you said like it's cool when you get through that and you beat the boss, you feel like you dominate the whole area. And I was thinking about that when I was playing today, because it took me forever today to beat 4-2. Because what it felt like was instead of dominating, I just learned how to cheese the entire level to get to the freaking boss. So
Yep.
I just learned here's how you get the skeletons to go over top of the ledge so I don't have to fight them. Here's how I dodge this person so I don't have to fight them. So I have to run through and not fight anybody so I can keep trying to fight the boss I keep dying on. That gets aggravating when you're on the the 20th try of the boss. I am like at my wit's end.
Yeah.
And that is a problem throughout the series for me. I wish there was a door or everyone had a shortcut that you could, once you unlocked it, you got to the boss. You figured
kind
it
of
out.
like the Phalanx.
Yes.
I will say, I wish
is the perfect one.
Phalanx is perfect. In fact, I would say in Demon Souls, the first level of almost every one of those is pretty good. Like the Boletaria, you unlock a gate on the left, a gate on the right, and then a gate in the middle. And it's like that. I wish every level was that way.
Yeah.
Then like the Stone Fang, like the mines, it's similar. It's like you unlock a gate and then you drop some water, and then there's still a little bit of a run, but you only got to run past one guy, so it's really not that. But
that's not too bad.
But
I think the second level,
in Demon Souls, I feel like then 4-1 doesn't really have a shortcut. No. It kind of does, but it's not great. And then 5-1, I don't even think has a shortcut. And then as you go through, the second levels in that game are the worst. Like the second part of Stone Fang Tunnel is really bad. The second part of Shrine of Storms is really bad. Got to go a long way. So
I was literally running for miles.
Yeah,
today, I was like, this sucks. I was like,
what I was talking about was I love the ones that are a good mix of you learn where all the sharp edges are in the map. You know how to, you've beaten them where you've gotten past them. You've unlocked shortcuts. And then the few guys you still got to pass, you know how to backstab them. And I like that loop of you enter an area and everything's unknown. And then by the end, I do think that they got better later at doing that and giving you the right balance of bonfires later in the other games.
These games excel when they're like, and I've brought this up 18,000 times, Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze is ungodly hard. It is so punishingly hard. But you have awesome I think there's a checkpoint in the middle of each level. You feel whatever, and then you get to the boss, and I think there's a checkpoint in some of the harder ones right there at the boss. You get right there at the boss, and you're not running and having to do the level again. I think that's obnoxious when it's this point. All that to be said, amazing looking game. You hit the nail on the head. It's a PS3 game.
Yeah.
Very rough feeling, and it's just fun to return to the foundation. I like seeing it. I like seeing what they did to these certain bosses, how they look in the new one.
I'm really interested as a final note, because obviously From Software, who makes all these games, was involved in this in no capacity.
I was thinking about that when I was playing.
Blue Point said that the only thing From did was just give them their blessing at the very beginning. They were not involved at all. Like to the point, I think he said like the first time they probably saw the trailers was when we showed the trailer to people. And this game hits a level, and From's always gotten some crap for this, but like their games, I always think they look good because they have unique art styles and stuff. But like in terms of graphical fidelity, their games can be hit or miss. The texture work and lighting and stuff. I mean, Bloodborne like looks good, but it ran at like 25 frames a second, and like they've just never been great at that stuff. Not the worst, but never been great. But this game looks and sounds and visually and animation, it is like in its own level to where people are like, is Elden Ring gonna feel like old when it comes out? Like it's kind of like the same problem we've been having with Bethesda, where like they took off to the moon in the generation with the 360 and the PS3, and then the next generation it was like, we've got The Witcher 3, we've got like Fallout 4 is just kind of not doing it the same way, So I'm curious what Elden Ring ends up looking like and what the visual fidelity is of that. But
can we jump straight into, let's not get away from Jacob. Playing FromSoft game that you almost quit. You put back in the disc tray the other day, like I did.
Well, it's actually a digital.
What was the impetus of this? What?
So I'm playing Bloodborne. If you have a PS5, you may know that PlayStation's doing a thing where you get to play pretty much the greatest hits of their PlayStation PS4 era. Really awesome selection of games. I've been playing the crap out of my PlayStation 5. And I saw this game sitting there and I needed something to kill time. I was so bored. And I was like, let's just see. Let's just see how it goes. So I booted up Bloodborne. It was quick to install. I booted up, and I was instant like, why did I do this to myself? Like instantly just full of regret, full of hate, full of gargoyle memories, like all the crap that I hate about Dark Souls in itself was once again from Bloodborne. I don't know why I thought it was different. I saw a guy with a gun. I was like, maybe I can shoot people. Like that was probably the difference. So I was getting frustrated. I was texting the group chat like, this game is stupid. Why would anyone ever play this game? Who plays games get punished? Like it was just the same repetitive like nature of what I've done. But the summoning, which in itself is stupid, by the way, if you go to play multiplayer, these games aren't made for multiplayer. I know they're not, but at least make them easier to summon people. Come on.
Yeah,
it's always like you've got to be in body form, and then you have to get that transcendent stone, and then your friend has to get the eyes of the matriarch, and they have to use it at the same time as you.
Once you know what you're doing, it's pretty easy. You just grab that item. But yeah, to get to multiplayer is a puzzle on its own.
Yeah, 100%.
Buzz off. Like, are you kidding me? But
I started to learn because I was getting ticks. I would get these large banks of blood echoes, and I'd die, and I have to go chase them back down again. And I didn't learn like how to level up until I summoned my friend and Alex. He came in and he kind of ran me through the ringer. And honestly, what we did was really cool because I leveled up, and then I started to see like, oh, I'm waxing these people now. And then it made me feel more confident to try new things. I learned how to parry, and it's been kind of the story since then. Yeah. We played for like 3 hours last night. I put the controller down and I told him, I was like, I had fun. Yeah. I had fun playing a Souls-esque game.
Yeah.
And I knew I had fun because this morning I booted up and I beat my first boss by myself on my second try by myself.
Oh, nice.
Which is Father, I keep saying Gagori, but it's not.
See, I didn't even beat him solo. Yeah. I never beat him solo.
He's tricky.
He is. But I kind of like, again, and Travis, you said it best. It's all about the strategy. I'm more of like, I love the quick media. I love the quick satisfaction. I don't want the slow grind crap. I'm not into that. But I went in and I was like, I know what he's going to try to do in the beginning. I just need to get him to the werewolf, whatever form. And then from there, it's just good luck. Like,
yeah, it's chaos. It turns into chaos there. There's no strategy when he
But I got lucky and I parried his butt. I parried him while he was in that form and killed him. And I was like, it was nice. The dopamine just took over.
Yeah.
I'll tell you right now, playing on the PS5, it looks great. It doesn't run that much better. I was really hoping it would run a little bit better.
They haven't released a patch or anything. It's just gonna run basically however.
I saw people talking about that. Is it are they gonna add a patch to it? Is it going to be remastered? Because I guess there's some other stuff that Bluepoint that could be their other game was Bloodborne. That they might be remaking it or doing something.
Oh wow!
There's been some smoke to the.
I don't think that's their other game unless it was a remaster. I wouldn't see a remake.
I would hope they would just optimize it. Like it's already out for free. I don't know. That'd be weird. People can get it for free if you want to play for upgraded graphics.
Maybe that's why Demon Souls looks like a lot like Bloodborne. Maybe they got some assets they're ready to copy paste right now.
Maybe.
Hey, fun note about that boss, by the way, Jacob. In that area, I think it's like a little girl. No,
that's her father, right?
Yeah, you can get a little charm box.
I got it.
Did you use it?
No, I didn't use the charm box.
So the charm box, if you read the description, which press square on any item to read the description, talks about it's a calming charm or whatever. You can, when he goes into his werewolf mode, you can use that and he runs away from you and then you can go hit him in the back.
Oh.
Or something like that. Like you can use it to make the fight easier.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad I didn't do that because I wanted to do it myself.
Yeah. I never tried it. But
that was sad. That was kind of sad because I gave the girl her brooch because her mom was killed by him, obviously. And she was like, my mummy's dead. And I was like, yeah.
I love the atmosphere of Bloodborne. I want to replay that. I want to jump in with you and play some more.
Yeah, me and Alex had a blast.
That's my favorite Souls-like game. I think I just had a great time with the atmosphere and the creepiness and people just yelling and screaming you can hear and and like the people in the village are kind of fricked up. I love that.
I think this might be my first game I can actually say I'll beat from Software.
It's very fun, yeah.
And then from there, I don't know if I'm gonna go back and play Dark Souls or not. I'm gonna see what happens. This has definitely been a lot more enjoyable. I will say that. Yeah. So I'm enjoying it. Trying to think. Do you want me to go through some other stuff? I had some couple quick
what
hitters.
else you play?
Let's talk through a couple quick games I played, and then we can kind of just bounce from there. I booted up Fallout 4. It was one of the free games again you get for having a PlayStation 5. I just modded it. I have a minigun that shoots nukes. Like, for me, those games are like a I want to jump in and I just want to wing it and I want to have goofy fun. So I probably put a couple hours into that. And then I've got the Final Fantasy 15 Royal Edition. It was one of the
I got that too because
well.
the PS Plus thing. And they downloaded 8 million things. It's 8 million things on it.
Yeah, it was so much, but it's everything. It's like the whole game. So I get to play it the way it's intended to play. I played probably an hour of it. I'm already mad at it right now because I thought I was supposed to go do something. So I walked like a mile, and to walk a mile in that game is forever long. Yeah. I walked a mile one direction, and I couldn't progress any farther without the car. And I was like, oh, yeah. Now I have to walk a mile and a half back to go get the car.
Take the car, man.
I couldn't get the car. The lady's working on it. Cindy or whatever her name is. Stupid, dude. So anyways.
Cindy, I love that.
But yeah, the game looks good. I was really excited to play it.
I want to play that there's multiplayer co-op on that. So we should jump in on that.
Let's do it. I
don't know what it even does if you jump in I don't know.
Maybe we drive.
We got to make sure we have the spherical eye, and then you have to wait till the dark moon.
I'll tell you what, I'm really glad I didn't buy some of these games on the PS4 because PlayStation's just giving it out for free, and that's like,
yeah, I wish I hadn't.
numbers of games I just get to play now, and I get the experience.
It's a great collection. I downloaded that Final Fantasy one, and I downloaded Days Gone. I'm gonna check out Days Gone. I didn't get a chance to.
I wasn't going to spend money on that.
And that got a patch, an update.
Nice
for
PS5.
Yeah,
nice,
so it runs
awesome.
60 frames, 4K.
The only other game I played that I'll just talk about real quick. I played Madden 21. I've been playing a franchise mode. Now that PlayStation shows you the number of hours you spend in a game, it makes me hate EA even more because of how much they have me. Because I spend most of my hours playing sports games, and it's all football.
Yeah. Is that update for PS4 games? It shows you?
It does.
Yeah, it goes back and shows you
every PlayStation 4 game you've ever played.
That's how I know how long it took me to beat Red Dead finally.
Yep.
Oh, nice.
I went back and looked, and I was really ashamed. I put like 100 hours in all the Maddens. I play Madden a ton, guys. That's how much I play that stupid game, and I hate it.
Did you see that they released a trailer for the next gen version of Madden 21?
Yeah, it looks stupid.
I was kind of interested. They're using the next gen stats and stuff. So
Here's my
be interesting.
Travis. I'm going to drop a little tidbit of information. Every Madden that's gone into next gen, it's been with the transitional Madden. The next gen version is the worst Madden.
Yeah, that has happened.
Every single time. The not the Richard Sherman. The which one was it? It was Madden 25. Madden 25 when it jumped from PS3 to
Madden 15.
Yeah, it was terrible, awful, worst thing ever. Madden 09, I think it was 09, when it went from PS2 to PS3, looked awful, played like garbage. So it's weird. I don't know why they just can't. But I could be wrong. I get a free upgrade, which is awesome. I get a free upgrade, so I don't care. I'm gonna get it anyways. But I'll find out. The next gen stats looks awesome. It looks really, really cool. But that's a couple of the games I have played. I will want to talk in depth about a couple more here in a second.
Speaking about football games, by the way, after you recommended it, I've been playing a ton of Retro Bowl, and that game is awesome. That
10 years. I'm 10 years in. 10 years in.
Yeah. Oh, dude, I'm like, I've been in multiple cities and won different Super Bowls, and I've gotten my team built up and win, and then try to start a new team, and those guys are toxic, and I cut them all and I start over again. So,
it's a grind. How many bowls have you won?
I think 2.
Okay, and my 10 years, I've actually won. I just won my 5th one, so I'm
no, it's hard, and I started I'm starting to I try not to I don't know. It feels like the difficulty gets kind of dynamic. So I paid the $1 to get the dynamic
it was worth
difficulty.
It.
Yeah, and it really does get a lot harder. I went from I'm doing great to throwing 6 interceptions and
which I like that. I like the challenge.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like you can just win automatically, or sometimes the game just doesn't go your way and you lose. So
this is the first mobile game that I'm sitting there I actually play this over some other games I have in my possession.
There have been nights where I just end up sitting on the couch, play a couple hours of that, and it's fantastic. So
I'm glad you picked that up. I thought you would really like that. I'm glad
I love
you grabbed it.
It's and for you guys, it's called Retro Bowl. I know it's on iOS. I assume it's on Android, but it's free, or you can pay $1 to get the rights to be able to make your own uniforms and rename players and stuff. So
it's
free or $1, and That's it. Like you
It's
can
more-
buy coaching credits too, but
Yeah.
I've been to where like the coaching credits, it's not like you buy emotes or anything weird like that. It just like basically lets you upgrade your team and stuff. But
Yeah.
you don't at all need to buy coaching credits. Like I know
It's
people say
optional.
that about mobile games, but you like when you win, you get 3 credits, and when you
You get
lose,
scenarios where you get more
1.
credits.
Yeah,
Your
like
fan
I've
base
had
will give you
in
credits.
my Super Bowl years, I had like 70 credits. In my bad years, I had like 10 credits at the end of the year. Like it's a good economy. So
It really is. I 100% agree. So
I watched a game. I
you
pulled a Jacob.
you can't do that. That's
Pulled a
not
Jacob.
allowed.
Deadly Premonition 2. I gave up on. I gave up on that crappy game.
I had a feeling that was not going to work.
That was
out,
coming.
man.
I was getting sick just playing it from the frame rate issues.
It
And
is
then
that
the
bad.
game got to a point where it turned into Shenmue 3 on top of how bad the frame rate was. And I said, I cannot take it. Oh God, I cannot take it. This
Like,
the
I cannot do this
stacking,
anymore.
the stacking, the terribleness, it's not fun anymore.
It was harder
So-
than Demon Souls.
Yes. So what happened was I got to a point where it's like, hey, go here. And I get on my skateboard, this very jaggy skateboard. Nothing's
Mhm.
working right. I get to the point and it says, looks like you got to come back at another time. And I didn't know what time that was. You pass time by smoking a cigarette, like Metal Gear. I said, I'm not having fun. This is not fun. What I found was enjoyable, though, was the story and what was going on in these characters and stuff. And it's like, if I can just cut that out, I'll have a good time. And it reminded me, I was like, well, what happened with the first one? We were all in a group and we just passed the controller and somebody else would do the crappy
Yeah,
stuff.
I didn't even play most of that.
Yeah, and that one was fun because at least it moved or whatever. This one plays terribly. But there still is very, very, very funny moments in this and very enjoyable like characters, and you're trying to get the mystery and all this stuff. So I decided to quit the game and watch the remainder of it on YouTube. And that game is that I had a great time watching it, but it's weird. Like because I remember Jacob talking about him watching Last of Us or watching a streamer watch that, but like
Yep.
Yeah.
this is the first game I think in a long time that I've like, I can get the enjoyment out of this. I can pull it out of it just by watching it. I don't need to play.
Well, when
like, I'm not
when the
mis-
interactive component is just not
yeah.
any way satisfying, like yeah,
And that's what's weird. It's like, man, this game, you know what I mean? Like the characters and all the stuff is the fun part, but also the joke is kind of how bad it is, like the skateboarding and stuff. So it's a weird, almost performance piece of a interactive media. I don't know how to describe Deadly Premonition except watch it, but it is fun. It's funny. I don't even know how to explain it. You know what I mean? Like it's just
one of
weird. I'm not
those,
having
like-
fun when I'm playing.
Did they
it,
tie
but-
that story or up? Did it end up making sense, or was it a little nonsensical?
Nonsensical at times, but it is cool. They wrapped it up in a prequel sequel sense, and I really liked it at the very end. Like I had fun with it, and I thought it was interesting.
Did it feel like a continuation of the first one's story in the end?
Yes, they continue. So they do both. They like show you the past. That's what you kind of play, but then they jump in the future, and all those kind of tie at the end or whatever.
Okay.
And I liked it. But yeah,
I still think you can watch a video game. I still think you can experience
certain
it and do the
games you
same.
might be able to just watch it. You know,
You can,
like,
you can watch a video game. I don't know if you can review the combat of a video game when you haven't played it.
I
Hey,
did play it. I gave up on it on Deadly Premonition.
My opinion stands in the end. Nothing
Jacob,
changed.
You watched it and said the combat's 6 out of 10. Then you played it and said the combat was the best part. How does your
No.
opinion still
No.
stand? You changed your opinion.
My opinion still stands. Still final. I still think it's one of the best opinions that's ever been made.
I've also played and beat Bugsnax.
You beat it?
Oh, it's Bugsnax. So when they first showed this game looked nonsensical. It looked, I don't know what I was looking at, but the freaking theme song got me, and it was the people who made Octodad, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was like, and then about a day later, they put on Twitter, this is like Ape Escape, Dark Cloud, something else. And I was like, looks like a game made for me. Sure enough, this was a Zack Pike video game through and through. I think you said it earlier. It is Pokemon Snap. It is part Pokemon without like the battling stuff. It's part Pokemon. capturing
Yeah.
these things.
This game
It
gave me
is-
flashbacks to being a kid playing Hey You Pikachu and like having Pikachu walk through the forest and trying to tell him to pick up
Yes.
the Pokeball or pick up the thing.
Yes.
And
That's hilarious to me.
It's part it is part Dark Cloud. What Dark Cloud would do is you would get people to come to your town, and then you would kind of build. They're like, "I'll come if it's all these conditions are met." And this has a very baby version of that, but it was still fun to like get these people to your town and whatever else. That's kind of what the game is. Is like, can you get these other, what are they called, grumbles or whatever? I forgot the name of them.
I think Grumbles, yeah.
Yeah, these little animals of the world. Like it's the main animal.
They're like
mammals, whatever.
They're like weird mammal. Like
They're like
they look like walruses, but
Yeah,
they
they're
have
like-
legs.
They remind me of like a creature you'd see in Spyro, and that's another thing that kind of pulled me in. Was like all this stuff was what I love, and I was like, I
Banjo
can't-
Kazooie,
Yeah.
looking weird.
So I was like, I can't hate this game. But another thing that got me on this game was that when they finally started talking on the premise, and even in that trailer, like, yeah, there's little bugs that run around that look like snacks, and you eat them, and then the body parts become the bugs. That
Like
is
friders, like
Yes.
spiders made out of fries, and when they eat when they eat the frider, their arm turns into a
Yes.
fry, like a big giant fry.
This game has funny
Oh,
dialogue.
right.
The characters
The-
interacting is funny.
The writing is great.
The writing's great. I laughed out loud. The little things that are running around or whatever make me laugh because they're so stupid. But you're changing the characters and the citizens of the towns or whatever into these different bugs. These are like, why are they changing their bodies? And they explain that in the game. They talk about all this stuff that's
Like,
going
I
on.
love some bug snacks. And like they
Every
never, and I don't know if
character-
it gets that way, but I've played 3 or 4 hours. They don't like seem bothered that like their shit's changing. Like they
Yeah.
don't seem to care that like their body parts
Yes.
are changing.
And that's what I love is the surrealness of it.
Yeah.
Every character is unique. They each have a very, very specific character about them and the way they react to the other
Strong personalities.
Yeah, townspeople.
There is a scene a couple hours into the game where you start getting some people back, and there's one character
Yeah, I
that
think I know
is
what
the
you're talking about.
mayor of the town, and
yeah. Philbo.
he just Philbo, yeah, and he was like, these people are coming back, let's throw a party. And I didn't have that many people back, but I was like, sure, let's throw a party. And what ensues is it took a turn, let's just say, in a way that you just go, whoa, that got awkward real fast. And I've heard that this game goes places in its final act. That's the one thing I've heard people say is this game really kind of goes places. So I don't know what that means per se, but
it definitely does go places. I love the music's fun. The music's like chill and
oh yeah,
like when it changes from night to day, it just has this kind of vibe with it.
Reminds me of the forest stage music that we did for
and controversial opinion, I think this is the best Pokemon game made in recent memory. And what I mean by that is, how do I get that creature? Oh, they added a new twist to getting that creature that it's a similar type. You know what I mean? Like there's only a certain amount of types in this game and they each have different elements. And it feels like Breath of the Wild tied in with Pokemon. Okay, I've got to use that element, or I've got to use this certain trap. Okay, when that trip activates, but I have to keep them away from this certain whatever. And sometimes you'll walk into an area and you're cracking up because chaos is ensuing. They really let systems. So what'll happen is like certain bug snacks don't like another. If they cross paths and stuff, you'll see them fight and stuff is going nuts.
like a little burger bug, a bunger.
Yeah, bunger
with a thing covered in ketchup and
yeah. So chaos can ensue. I even was seeing online the developers were talking about, why wasn't there? You can't use tools. There's different tools to capture these bug snacks. Why can't you use them in the town? And they were like, the town, we had to turn it off because absolute chaos, like it was uncontrollable. The madness the freedom that was allowed, and that was like we had to turn it off in the town. It would have broke the game, but. I freaking loved it. I freaking love that type of game. It's one of my favorite indie games I've played in a long time. It's a great time, great writing. I definitely recommend it. Again, back on the best Pokemon game. Pokemon is like, okay, you fight this, you whittle down the HP, you throw the Pokeball. This makes you think like, how do I capture that? And it's like a part of me is like, oh, I wish the next Pokemon game is kind of like bug snacks. Okay, I have to use this certain trap. I have to be smart about what is going to interact or get this type of Pokemon. So maybe the next Pokemon could be like okay, I have to use this fruit or something, or it only works with this type of ball to capture them, and I have to throw them, whatever. I even think the Hey You, or not Hey You Pikachu, what was the Pokemon Go?
Pokemon Go,
Go
Yeah.
Pikachu, or
Hey you
Let's
Pikachu.
go
No,
Pikachu.
not Hey you Pikachu. Yeah,
Let's Go,
Let's
yeah.
go Pikachu.
even that, didn't that make you like at least toss it or whatever?
Yeah, you
There was
had to
at
Yeah,
least,
it
like,
changed it a little
at
bit.
least there was
Yep.
some of that. So it's like, I wish that the next
There's an
Pokemon
unfortunate reality with Pokemon that their core fan base
Yeah, they don't want to change anything. I
are
know.
psycho
But, yeah.
and do not want anything new. But
Freckle.
yeah, I thought that my time with Bugsnax was fun, and now that I have wrapped up what I've been doing, I'm planning on playing that and Demon Souls some more. So,
Cool.
real quick, were we going to talk about Astrobot besides just the controller stuff?
Yeah, let's talk Astrobot. I think we
'Cause I
all...
beat Astrobot. Did you beat it, Zach?
Yes, I beat it.
You beat it, Jacob?
I played like 5 minutes of it.
Do you
Well,
care?
there-
Well, it's
we
a
won't
fun.
spoil. I mean, there's not much to spoil. I mean,
It's a platformer that shows off the controller. It looks cute.
there's not really much to spoil. It's a extremely good platformer that shocked me, and it shouldn't have, because I thought the VR Astros was the best VR game I've ever played. So I played this, and yeah, it boots up and says, "Hey, it's going to show you the controller." I'm like, okay, and it turns into a really amazing platformer, and
It's
it's not just,
fantastic.
and even without the haptic stuff, it's very fun. It's very.
I loved every part of it.
It felt,
Great.
and I think AOI, shouts out AOI, in the when I was streaming it, said it was like, this is kind of like a Mario. It was like
Yeah, I saw
something
people
like,
say it's like a Mario Galaxy.
it feels like a Mario game.
Reminded me of Odyssey.
You know, we've already talked in links with the controller. There is Travis, you said, I think this is the Easter egg game. Like, it's just the whole game is an Easter egg.
And that's where, like, I guess I'll say the ones that I don't think you care as much about, Jacob. But so kind of the setup of the game is there's 4 worlds, and I don't know if they ever come right out and say it, but you start out in CPU Plaza, and so like there's these different, like, it doesn't just show off the controller, like there's like Memory Meadows, and Cooling Springs, which is like the cooling system, and GPU Jungle, which has one of the best freaking songs I've ever heard.
Oh God,
I'm your GPU. And I actually found a little room where it's got the lyrics on there, and it's awesome. But basically, you realize at some point, I realized it pretty early on, if you look up in CPU Plaza, it's the shape of the inside of a PS5. You're in a PS5.
Yeah.
The game is taking place inside of a PS5. And it is just, it's basically a very heartfelt, like, hey, inside this PS5 is the PS1, the PS2, the PS3, and the PS4. They're all in here. And as you're going through the levels, you'll come up on the little bots, and they're like what minions should be. Like, they're cute and they're funny. And they're like, the little bots are like, I walk up and there's one with a backpack on, like Death Stranding, and he's tripping in the mud. And I walk by another, and it's like the girl from Resident Evil, like looking around the corner. And they literally do Easter eggs for all these awesome PlayStation moments. The game's collectibles really smart. It's these scan-ins of the PS2, iToy, and like and you're collecting all these accessories from PlayStation's past, and it's just fun. Like, you just are constantly finding little nuggets and looking at them, and they look awesome. And apart from that, it's just fun.
On top of the Easter eggs, and then you find these artifacts, and it's like, oh, here's the PS5 controller, here's whatever controller. You can zoom in, and those look really good. You can oh, these are cool. And it's like, oh, I never got that, the PS3 thing, or I do have that like console, or I have that thing. And it even made me like want to collect them in real life. It honestly made me go to eBay, and it's like, I didn't know the PSP had like a mic and a camera you could hook to it. I kind of want to get that and display it myself. It made me want to actually get some of the stuff. That wrapped up with the Easter eggs, wrapped up with how good the game was, and the celebration of Sony. As it kept going on, and like you're getting these artifacts and you're seeing these Easter eggs and stuff, you start to go, and then the game is really fun. It hit me that this game did more than just be like a thing that showed off the controller. It made me go, oh my gosh, this cemented Sony as like they're Nintendo quality. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like they have reached a pinnacle, and like this is them going, we're here, and like look at what we did. Like, we can now celebrate, like we've reached it, kind of thing.
They have legacy. We're past the point of will there be any new IP, good IP on the Sony, whatever. They have a rich history. I would actually say they're less dependent on their core franchise is than
Yeah.
Nintendo is,
Yeah.
and that they have so many different things they can lean on. It felt like, the same way Smash Ultimate had like all those little things and you'd find, and it was that, but like less of them, but higher quality of them. I don't know. And it was just a fun celebration. And as someone that didn't own a PS1, didn't own a PS2, didn't own a PS3 until the week before the PS4 came out, and then got PS4 and got PS5, I even was like, man, this is awesome. I'm collecting all these. So like if someone like Zach, who you've owned all the PlayStations and you've probably been on this whole journey, I bet that was awesome. And even for me, it's cool. There's certain things they do with whether it's music you're used to hearing on the different systems. There were really cool moments of like, man, that's very 90s.
Yeah, they kind of
very
remix like a
2000.
PS1. The
Yeah, they bring that
sound
like
stuff,
the startup sounds, and
they
they
do some
bring
cool
it.
stuff with it.
Mhm.
Yeah, so
Great.
it was weird to me though when they started doing it with like PS4 stuff, and I was like, this is like what I just was using, but
Yeah.
they've put it in this game, and it
Yeah.
it's a fun celebration
Yeah.
of everything.
I did laugh. I was like, what's going to be in the Vita level, or what's going to be, because that was like bombed if we're talking about whatever. But they kind of put it with like generations or what came stuff out. So it wasn't just a Vita level place, or it wasn't this specifically. But very good. Very fun.
Cool.
Awesome.
PS5, and then we can kind of, I think Travis obviously has a little bit of a heartfelt conversation he needs to have. So I'll be quick with mine then.
Birds and the bees.
Yeah, I know, right? I beat Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Nice.
Fantastic game. I still wish it was $40, not $60. But it is what
Whatever.
it is. That's another
Wait to play $70 for the next one.
I know, right? How crappy is that? But afterwards, the ending, I was like blown away by the ending, because it's like I kind of got the lost feeling of it, because I have no idea what's going on. I didn't play the first one. I don't know the story.
Yeah.
But for me, it's like, are we switching timelines? Is there a timeline going aside another timeline? Are we backflashing? Like
I can sum it up for you. You want me to sum it up for you?
Do you have
Because
to? I kind of like the mystery of it.
well, no, I mean, it's still mysterious. I don't know what's going to happen
Yeah, we
either,
don't know
but
what's going on.
my criticism, I will say, of that game, if there was any, was that at the end, it kind of like started bringing in stuff that I felt like was more extended universe Final Fantasy VII that I didn't really care for. But in the end, what the ending of that game was trying to convey is that obviously in the original Final Fantasy VII, things go a certain way, and
Yes.
some characters live, some characters die, but like that story happened. And so in this game, you remember when the ghosts would start swirling around,
Yeah.
those ghosts would try to like stop things from happening when they were
want
going off
Yeah.
of what originally happened. So what they decided at the end is that they Aerith, whatever her name is, she had some kind of a vision, I think, that was like, oh, I know how this ends. This doesn't end well for us. The only way we can succeed potentially is if we kill fate, basically. If we kill the thing that's stopping what causes what happened last time. And so they go like meta, like they go like outside of anything that happened in the original. Like in Final Fantasy VII original, you don't fight that thing and you're not on the bridge doing whatever else. And the last 2 hours of that game are completely different. You definitely don't fight Sephiroth at that point. But you basically, your team in that game were killing fate. And the idea is now in the next one, there's nothing stopping anything from happening. Anything can happen now. It's not going to follow the original necessarily.
Oh, okay, right on. Well, that sounds cool. Yeah, they introduced you to a character that was like I think I heard of, but it was from another game.
He's in
Zach,
the first.
yeah,
he's in-
I was
he's in the
not- that-
first one.
I was not happy with the way they introduced him in this one and the way they I just,
Yeah,
Well, to
they
me, it looked like
expected you.
his
They
brother.
expected you to know something
yeah.
of that. Of
Which-
that. That's the one flaw of this game is they, not flaw, but they do expect you to know some stuff. We had our review with Zach, and he had never played it, or I think he watched some parts, but he was fine with some parts. But I was saying, there's some parts like the Zach thing. They expect you to know a little bit.
Yeah,
about it.
I knew of him because like I've seen cutscenes, I think from not Final Fantasy, Kingdom Hearts that included him.
Oh yeah.
And
That's all you need is the Kingdom Hearts cutscene.
yeah, so it's just I just know of them.
So you got to play Kingdom Hearts, Chain of Memories, Kingdom Hearts 2,
I
Kingdom Hearts
touch
3,
it.
Drop
I'm
During
sorry.
Distance, Final Fantasy 7, then Final Fantasy 7.
I
Yeah.
own the Kingdom Heart games. I own 1 and 2.
And the Deadly Premonition.
Yeah, oh my gosh. I just have no desire to play them. I don't know. Maybe one day if I get bored enough.
I played through 1. It was fun.
But 7 for me is like up there. It's like it was a really great cherry on top of the PS4 for me. It was like a great way to kind of kiss it goodbye because I thought the last game I'd be on PS4. It was.
Oh, did you play that on the PS4?
Yep, I beat it on my PS4 Pro. It was my way to kind of just.
That is
kiss
a
it
great way
goodbye.
to send your PS4 off.
Yep. Now it's just a it's sitting in my game room. It's sitting on top underneath my monitor as a Madden machine until it's transferred all over to PS5. The other game I played and I cannot recommend enough is Spider-Man Miles Morales. Wow. $40.
I think you were the only one that got that of us.
I am. I'm the only one that got it.
I want to get it. It's not that I don't want to.
Yeah, but for me, it was like, man, the upgrade from the PS4 2 years ago to this game now on the PS5 is huge.
Yeah.
Like, I couldn't think you could make a bigger jump, and they did.
And the first one looked great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was even watching footage side by side recently, and I was like, the original don't even look that good now compared to this new one.
It's insane. I played the game, so they give you two options when you. By the way, I hit the button to play the game. It shows me the Spider-Man logo, and I was instantly there in the game.
Yeah,
there.
I've seen the load time. There is no load time for the
no,
game.
it doesn't exist.
It pulls up and it just says press X to start, and you start.
Yeah,
and you're in the
I was giddy. I was like, oh my gosh. So then you boot up the game, and it gives you two options. You can either go fidelity mode or performance mode. And performance mode lets you play the game at 4K, 60 frames, but there's no ray tracing, and there's some others like little lower down settings. Or you play the game at 4K ray tracing, but 30 frames. So I was like, I want it all. Give me it all. 30 frames. I played the other Spider-Man in 30
You're
frames.
crazy.
So I played it in 30 frames fidelity mode, and it was
the ray tracing is probably
beautiful. Oh my
unbelievable.
gosh!
Yeah.
Because the first scene starts out with Miles. He's walking off the train, and he walks out into a snowy, melted kind of snowy area of New York, and I was like, this is insane.
Yeah.
It looks like it just rained, but like it's
Yeah.
also sunny, but it's also snow. Wow, it just looks so good. And then like you start playing the game, guys, the gameplay is so smooth.
I heard the gameplay is so good it like kind of makes it hard to go back to the older one because there's certain enhancements they do with the new one. And
Stupid crazy. It's so fluent. It's so clean. The story is only 10 hours long.
Yeah, that's kind of perfect for me.
Which it was it was a great story. I'll tell you right now. I would argue that it's a better story than the last Spider-Man game. It was great. I love Miles. I love his character. But not only that, the music in the game while you're swinging through New York is on point. It has its own feel. It has its own culture. It has like its own
It's like hip hop. It's like
really,
the Spider-Man music, but with like a hip hop kind of
100%
kind of beat underlaying.
And that's what gives it its own style. It's not, your typical Spider-Man game, but it is Spider-Man. And I cannot recommend it. You guys need to go pick this up. I've already beaten it. I 100%ed it. New Game Plus and all, like top level game. I played my New Game Plus in performance mode, and I regretted not playing it that way the first time because 60 frames in this game is the way to play.
That's why I said you're crazy, because Demon Souls, like I looked at, and it didn't have ray tracing, but like I looked at the fidelity mode and I was like, I guess it looks a little better, but like the 60 frames, is all the difference in the world.
I tell you what, there's a big difference in the Spider-Man one.
I bet because you're swinging at high speeds and stuff.
It's so much different, and it felt so much more like unnatural, but it's so much more smoother, so much more control. It just happened, like it's double the speed. It's insane.
Yeah.
But the look was a big difference too. Like losing ray tracing.
If you're just walking around parts, turn on the fidelity mode.
Yeah, you guys, if you guys do pick this game up, which I highly recommend everyone does, just try out both modes. You guys are gonna love it. It's a perfect way to start the PlayStation 5 off.
Nice. I want to put a bow on the next gen stuff. Well, we might talk about it more, but I wanted to tip my hat to Sony and tip my hat to Xbox, because we're partisan, right? We're a partisan podcast.
Bipartisan.
We're partisan.
Bipartisan. Partisan is you like one side.
We're bipartisan. So, first off, I want to tip my hat to Sony. We've said it on the podcast before. I've always seen it because I've grown up for all these Sony consoles and Xbox, whatever. every console launch for almost every console has sucked. And that's not a bad thing. That's just like these developers have time, they have to whatever. Every now and then you get like a Twilight Princess that's like one game, and it's like, well, that's worth buying, the Wii for, or you can get it on GameCube, but you want it on the Wii and try it out. Okay, we got freaking on the Switch. You got 1-2 Switch and Breath of the Wild. Well, I'll buy for Breath of the Wild. But the Switch didn't have the amazing spread of, different genre, different whatever. I want to tip my hat to the PlayStation 5. I think, to me, personally, it's not amazing. It's not incredible 30 titles at launch. But you got Astrobot that was free. That's come with it. You got Demon Souls remake, which is a crazy hardcore thing. You got Miles Morales, which is a good, like everybody liked the last Spider-Man game, and now you got a meta version, smaller little thing of it. Sackboy, people have liked playing that, the co-op version of that. I'm impressed. I was impressed by it. I know it's not, again, like giant, but that's a tip. I wanted to tip my hat to Sony.
Yeah, it's a great.
The first good launch.
Day one, I had 3 games installed that were new that I was like, I want to play all 3 of these.
Yes. I want to also tip my hat to Xbox because I got Demon Souls and I wanted to play Playroom. I was playing Astro's Playroom. And I was like, oh, I'll do quick resume. I'll just, I'll be able to jump in. There is no quick resume.
No, there isn't.
On PlayStation 5.
Yeah,
I don't know why my brain auto defaulted when I saw all the Xbox doing it. I was like, yeah, PlayStation can do that.
Yeah.
It cannot.
I've been watching videos.
Xbox can do like 4 or 5 games at one time. Yep. They can jump between. I thought you could do the same with Sony. You can't. That was a bummer at first. I do still tip my hats like, well, Xbox has it. I wish PlayStation did. But the games do, like you said earlier, Travis, they load really so quick. It's not a big deal. But it's like, I wish I could have just jumped right back into where I was at.
Yeah.
I don't know. But
yeah. And the other interesting thing, Xbox is at least owning their flaw right now is they don't have a unique game on their box. But I will say the early returns have indicated that they do have the better hardware for third party. And here's why. Everything we've been talking about, fidelity versus performance, on the PS4, if you want native 4K with ray tracing, you got to do 30. And if you want 60, you just do dynamic 4K. On the Xbox Series X, it does, for all like the new Assassin's Creed, all these games, it does native 4K with 60 FPS and ray tracing. And that is pretty freaking cool. Yeah. Now, like, they're going to need to have some unique games, but if you like the Game Pass ecosystem, you're missing out, I think, at this point, it's where do you own all your games already? Which one are you loyal to? If you don't own any games, you're probably not buying one of these consoles right now. Like, I don't know, maybe you are. Maybe you're like, I've never gamed and I want to start now and I have a bunch of money. I just feel like there's not a lot of those people running around.
Yeah.
But I do think that is a win for them, though, that this is the first time probably since the early 360 generation that they can say, hey, third-party stuff's performing the best on our stuff.
Yeah.
And even their loading for some of the third-party stuff is a little faster than PlayStation's because people haven't optimized for the SSD in most cases yet.
I did see.
So I don't know. It's pretty even except for exclusive-wise.
Game-wise, they are.
But like quick delivery or smart delivery, quick resume, Game Pass, which has a lot more third-party stuff than PlayStation Classics is just, like Xbox has some things going for it. PlayStation has some things going for it. I still think that $299 box is a pretty sweet deal. That little thing has quick resume. I got to be honest, I don't need one right now, but like I got to say like a year or two from now, if Xbox does end up having some exclusives that I feel like, I'd rather play that on my Xbox than on my PC. And like, I mean, that's a cool little box.
Yeah, it looks nice. It looks really, really nice.
One other issue I'm having with next gen stuff is my plan going to this next gen was, okay, I'm getting all these third-party games on my PC. I like to have it on my PC and whatever. I picked up this freaking controller, the adaptive controllers and the triggers and all this stuff, and I'm like that Deathloop game, I think is coming to PC and PS5, right? Correct? I think so.
Yeah.
And I was like, maybe I want to try that out on my PS5 if I end up getting that game.
But here's what you're gonna need to do, because I've been trying, since you mentioned that, I've been trying to like do some research on all these games that are coming out. How are the adaptive trigger stuff working, not working? Because Astros is like, it's like that first high and then you're chasing it. Like
chasing the dragon.
It was specifically made with that in mind. Like Demon Souls doesn't really do anything. It does a little bit, I guess.
Miles
and
Morales does a little.
Like it's not like a system,
Sure.
feature, but I've actually heard in some cases, like that Godfall game that came out.
Mhm.
I've heard people say that the adaptive trigger stuff on that is so gross and like feels bad that like it's not the way you want to play that game. So not to party poop on it, but I would be maybe there will be reviews. Maybe Cyberpunk will be great on the adaptive controller.
I think that now that the buzz has got out there, and that's all I keep seeing people talk about is the controller. And I think back to the Vita had a touchpad, and even the PS4 was like, look, you can motion stuff. Nobody gave a frick, like a touchpad or whatever. But like this is such a cool feature. I think that they might capitalize on that, and I think you might see developers spend a little bit more time on it. It's like, okay, this might be a more important thing. So we'll see how this kind of progresses.
I'm not sure, and here's why. If I'm a manager of a development team, right? So if we're not a PlayStation exclusive product, why would I have a team of 10 or 5 or 6 or 20 people work on something that only affects one version of the game, and it will only affect 1/3 of the people that buy the game or less or more? Why wouldn't I have those same people do something that will be value add for all versions of the game?
Yeah.
That's how projects within a development team get greenlit is what value add do you bring to our customer with the time you're going to spend? And if it's only going to bring it to a portion of the customers, which any multi-plat game, that's the way it is, they are not going to dedicate the resources to it.
We'll see, because, and I know I was seeing a mix reviews on this, because I saw some people online honestly like this and a lot of people not like it. Was the Call of Duty implementation. I was seeing videos of like shooting different guns did have a different feel to it. So that's
what I saw was shooting guns has a feel to it, but they make every single gun have the same feel, like it's like a revolver. That's what I was. Jeff Gersman, he's been in the game a long time. He's been reviewing for Giant Bomb and GameSpot for like 30 years. He plays every Call of Duty game. He said that every gun feels like a revolver. Yeah, they put a lot of work into one feel, but they did that for everything. And so it's cool for a second, but then you see through it. And then 2, he said it actually begins to gave him hand cramps, because you play those games for hours. He's like you don't want to well, it's the same guy that was raving about it on Astrobot. So
he's right then at that part.
I don't know. Jacob, did you play that? Did you have a experience with that?
I haven't played Call. I saw a video where someone was showing it off. The biggest difference is the guns, especially the machine gun like the machine guns in Call of Duty. Obviously it's repetitive rounds. So the biggest thing is when you're pressing the controller, you feel the feedback of the way it works is you feel the bullets push back on your finger.
Yeah.
But they feel the same on every single gun. And I think that was the issue that people were having, was like, it doesn't really feel like, how do you say it? When I shoot a sniper, it's a high-powered caliber shot.
You open yourself up now to, once you show you can do it, people are like, well.
But let's be honest, it's still cool. Call of Duty does a cool job with it and integrating it.
I think it's cooler than just having a rumble, which is what you normally have.
But like even for some people, like the thing they were talking about was like, how cool is it when like I can press the L2 button to aim, and then but if I have a sniper, if I press it in harder, it steadies his breath. Instead of you having to click a stick in now, you just press it in. So you barely tap it to pull the zoom up. Press it in harder to stop your breath and take the shot. That to me is like top tier.
That's cool.
Thinking.
That is like a next gameplay thing.
Yeah,
I like that.
Good job. But now it's like, again, like Travis said, you're starting to tease people. You got to figure out like, how can you make it more adaptive? How do you make it more better?
Start hiring other developers. Listen, you got to hire a Rumble
all
team.
In all, though, the bow and arrow and Astro's bot made me can't wait for Horizon 2.
That's true.
Yeah.
That bow and arrow felt unreal.
Horizon 2 is going to be awesome.
Back.
So, Travis, Beyond Light.
Beyond Light. Beyond Light. So, Destiny 2, it's starting its 4th year. So, and then the first one I think lasted 2 years. So we're on year 7 of Destiny. So,
of the 10-year plan.
Yeah, I guess they are still on the 10-year plan. Beyond Light's an interesting game. So if you guys know anything about Destiny, Destiny was supposed to be a trilogy from Activision and Bungie. And then obviously Bungie got their independence last year. And so a lot of the work that was going into what would be a Destiny 3, Bungie didn't have to make a Destiny 3 when they got free from Activision. And so they said pretty clearly that they weren't interested in making a Destiny 3. They wanted to just continue to build where they were. And so Beyond Light is not Destiny 3, but it is kind of a reset for the game, I would say. They did a little bit of a final, not it completely, but a little bit of a Final Fantasy 14 thing where every like 2-3 months they have a new season in this game. And last season was season 11, and they had this thing called Season of the Arrivals. And so basically the whole time since the beginning of Destiny, they always talk about the darkness is coming, the darkness. And then last year they started actually showing these ships, and you would be like going down in a cave and turn a corner and there would be a giant like pyramid looking ship, and it was a darkness ship. And so those things last season of Arrivals started popping up on planets, and people were like, okay, this planet, there's one on Mars and there's one on Io and there's one on, but not on every planet. And basically what they did was at the end of last season, all of the planets that had that ship on them, those planets were like destroyed by antimatter. So they wiped out like half the planets in the game, and all the stuff on those planets, like the raid that Zach, you and I played on the Leviathan, that got wiped out. Like there's just a lot of stuff that was in the game that is no longer in the game. And number one, that kind of fits into their real world plan of they wanted to start to vault content. And the goal being the game was getting up to like 80, 90 gigs. And it was becoming too big. It was also becoming too hard to test for. So every time they released new things would break and people would have exploits and, blah, blah, blah. So they kind of reset the game a little bit. Like the world map is reset. They introduced 2 new zones in this game. They introduced the moon of Europa, and they introduced the Cosmodrome from the original Destiny. So they brought one thing back and then they made a new thing. And they also in this expansion gave you the darkness. So in the original game and Destiny 2, you had like Solar and Arc and Void, and those were like your light. You have the light, your guardians, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Well, now you can possess the darkness. And so they're starting to release darkness subclasses. And so the first one of that is this thing called Stasis. And it is really different. Like it's like this weird space ice stuff. You can freeze. They're really using like more next gen technology with all these particle effects and stuff. And so there's a new subclass, there's a new campaign, there's a new raid. I did the raid day 1. So every time a new raid comes out, there's a big race, and they have contest mode turned on. And I think this year, like 10,000 different teams raced, and you get like real life rewards if you beat it in the first day. And our team unfortunately was not able to beat it. We streamed for like 16 hours. We got really far, a lot further than we did on the one we did last year, but we got stuck and we couldn't make it.
How much did you play at one time? 16 hours?
Yeah, we played on Saturday. We started at 1 and we played until 5 in the morning. And I had an absolute blast. It was because think about it this way. So Zach, you remember when we did the raid together, right? So first of all, most of the raids nowadays that aren't like that one where it's like you're shooting a thing and it's like a puzzle. Most of them are a little more action oriented. But imagine if you dropped into that, but you didn't have me. And nobody knew how to do any of the encounters. So it's kind of like mass community puzzle solving. You're in a team of 6 people. You're trying to stay alive. You're trying to figure out what to do. And it's a really fun event. It's something I look forward to every year. So I had to play through the campaign on my 3 characters to get up to the right level to be able to do the day 1 raid, and had a blast. The campaign was good. I liked last year's campaign a little bit better, but it was good overall. The new subclass is really cool. The game is in a really fun spot. And they're really finally starting to actually tie together the story of Destiny 1, the story of Destiny 2. In Destiny 1, there was a girl that's like, I don't have time to explain what I don't have time to explain. And she's the main character along with you in this new campaign. And she actually is tying back. Wow. What her name is, why she comes from a different timeline where basically the darkness wins. And so she's in your timeline now, and she's the one teaching you to use the darkness. It's kind of almost like a Jedi thing of like, hey, the Guardians are trying to just be about the light, but that leads to their demise. You have to learn how to wield the darkness too. It's important to have balance. And so they're doing like better story stuff, I would say.
That's cool.
It's a little bit more in line with maybe what I would have hoped they would have been doing from the beginning. Whereas some of the Destiny stuff was more just kind of generic, like we're champions of the light, blah, blah, blah. And so they're bringing in more gray. And the new raid is so freaking cool. It's like in this snow planet. And so it's almost like in Star Wars Empire Strikes Back, where you can't stay out in the cold too long. So you're like trying to go from bubble to bubble. And then you're basically breaking into this thing called the Deep Stone Crypt, which in the lore is this ancient like factory where they made the exos. But it's funny, it subverts your expectations. When you get into it, there's a whole encounter, like you've done the raids, there's encounters. There's an encounter to get into the Deep Stone Crypt. Once you break the security and you get in, the next encounter, you get in these pods and you go to space. And the crypt isn't actually underground, it's in space in a space station. And so you like Halo 2 style, like jetpacking these pods up to the space station. And you're like, the Deep Stone Crypt is actually, it was never underground. It's up in space above the planet. And actually there's a timer, there's somebody taking over it, trying to nuke the planet down below. And you're trying to stop the nukes. And then there's a giant encounter where you're actually out in space, platforming like across these things, and got really cool music and stuff. So it's a good expansion. Destiny is in a pretty good place. I would say, all things considered. And the other thing is, and I want to tell you this, Zach, they redid all of the new player onboarding stuff. So they did this thing last year called New Light, where, if you're new, like you don't have to play all the campaigns, you can just hop in and they'll give you these quests and it'll tell you, what you should do. And it was terrible. It was awful.
Yeah.
And I didn't even know how to help people that were doing it because I didn't have access to those quests. So like I would have to you tell me, what does your screen say? And I'll try to help you. And they were getting all these screens. And so part of what's helped is that they nuked like half the planets. But the other thing is they brought back the Cosmodrome from Destiny 1, which is that first place in old Russia. And they made a new mini campaign where basically you wake up and you meet this guy that, is a guardian, and he teaches you, okay, we're going to go do this, and we're going to do a strike, and we're going to do this. And he actually gets you up to speed on how the game works and tells you about equipment, tells you about raids, tells you about, what order you should try to do things in. And so the new player experience seems to be a lot better.
Nice.
So
maybe I'll jump back in for my yearly raid.
I'll be honest, like I would love to do another raid. I will say the one that I would have thought would have been the best, because it's almost like a Halo ODST kind of setting in the city at night. They got rid of that one as part of the vault stuff. So I would have to, think about which one would be a good next
raid
one to do.
On New Year's. New Year's Eve.
I think after we got through Leviathan, I think we could get through most of the other ones. Leviathan is the weirdest one.
COVID, we can't get together. We can't do some crazy stuff.
It would be fun.
Let's just raid our way into the new year.
That was one of when we talked about gaming, generational gaming moments in gaming, like favorite moments. I know that was hard for Alex, or I know people got fed up at different points or got frustrated. Doing that raid and like finishing off that last boss and everybody screaming like, "Oh my god!" Like that was class. That was and for me to take people through that had no idea what was going on was really cool. So
while Destiny is getting a facelift, a continual facelift, and looking good.
Continual facelift.
Yeah, continual facelift. It's constantly
Botox.
Yeah, Botox. Constantly, never going to change, but always going to look different. Mass Effect is getting its remaster.
It is.
Legendary Edition, guys. We're finally going to get it.
Gosh, I've been talking about this on the podcast for weeks, man. It finally happened.
Finally, we get it confirmed. Legendary Edition is going to come out. I'm super jacked. Just please don't mess it up. That's all I'm asking. Like, stay true to what you know. Just lift up the graphics. Maybe fix some of the crappy.
Is Blue Point working on this?
No, it's EA.
It's EA. It's
I trust EA. I trust them.
Who knows? But I'm excited. I will get that, and I will play the mess out of it.
I'm excited, but I'm a little worried. I'm so predictable. It's a Demon Souls thing again. I love Mass Effect 1. And And what they said is that they're doing some things to 2 and doing some things to 3, graphics, whatever. But they said for 1, they're actually going back into the menus and into the gameplay mechanics and changing the combat engine to be more like 2 and 3.
Nice.
Yes.
And I think most people are excited about that. For me, I felt like 2 and 3 kind of dumbed it down a little bit, but I
Yeah,
never
I get
played
that.
3. And so I don't know. I'm sure it'll be fine. I'm
One-
going to play it. And
one
it's
was-
probably going to be the best way to play through the series.
Yeah. I was cracking up
Um,
reading online. Some of the
I'm
people
ready to
were
play those again.
Some
I
people
really
are
am.
saying, I hope they change the ending of 3. I'm like,
Dude, shut up.
okay, you
Shut
still
up.
are mad about 3's
Yeah.
ending, so here we go.
One, in my opinion, one was so clunky because the AI that followed you around, the 2 people, they always walked around in a triangle. That's how they did things. And so you could get stuck.
Yeah.
In the other games, they didn't do that. They were a lot smarter. It was just a better overall experience in combat wise. So I'm excited to hear that.
Combat's probably better in 2, and I'm down for some of those changes. But don't you think that like the open-endedness of the first one, where you could go to all these planets and do the different planets in whatever order, was pretty cool?
I liked that too, and I don't know if that's gonna. I guess
I hope
don't
they don't
know.
change it.
I
I'm
hope
sure they
don't-
won't.
Yeah,
I wouldn't
hope they
think
don't
they would.
touch it.
Now,
Now, some of
Zach-
that stuff they shouldn't.
Zach, I will say I was actually listening to some people online that were kind of getting a little bit into conspiracy theory territory, where they have said they're working on a Mass Effect 4. And a lot of people say, well, with the way 3 ended, and I don't really know, that you can't really do one because of the way it ends. So actually what these people were alluding to was like there might be some floating thoughts out there that they may retcon the end of 3 to make it to where they can do a 4.
It's going to be freaking.
What if they do
Obi-Wan,
Final Fantasy 7,
a
Final
special
Fantasy
edition.
7, where you kill Fate at the end?
They're going to kill Fate, or they're going to pull a George Lucas, and they're going to have the ghost of Obi-Wan talking to you. or
What they
something.
should do if they were big brain and didn't screw up Andromeda was, you play as the child of your love partner from 1, 2, and 3, the one you decide to, because at the end, before the mission 3, of course, you get to have an opportunity to have sex again. You just simply impregnate that person, you have a child with that person, and you get to play as that person in the game 4.
Well, the problem isn't what happened to Shepard. I think the problem is, and I didn't play 3, so maybe you correct me. Don't they like destroy all the mass relays at the end of 3? Like all the mass relays are destroyed. Like things that weren't created by humans and Turians, like the forefathers made these things that make space travel possible. If that stuff's destroyed, like there's no game. Like you're not traveling between the planets.
I want to make sure I'm correct, but I'm almost 90% sure what the biggest thing that people freaked out about was the change in biodevelopment of people, making them all synthetics, making them all human, or like destroying all the synthetics and leaving the humans.
Yeah, there's different choices, right?
Yeah,
So-
that was the
Or
big
is that did everything what Travis was saying? Did they kill all the relays?
Well, I think it's
and all
both. I think they
choices?
killed all the mass relays and all
And all the
choices. And then there's that choice, which affects how you can.
which also creates like
But wouldn't that
Yes.
world still continue without that stuff? So why couldn't they do Mass
It
Effect
would,
4?
but fundamentally, you couldn't have a game where you get in spaceships and fly to
Who
planets.
cares? I'd rather play it. I only stay on one planet or something. I don't know.
well, I don't know about that. That's kind of like
Yeah, I don't know.
I want to.
Then you know what? I got a game for you. You should play Anthem.
Oh my gosh. In my opinion, I think
Let's do an Anthem raid.
yeah, when they do the good ending and they destroy the Reapers, and then like, yeah, it is what it is. I don't care. I think there's ways you can do a Mass Effect 4 without changing 3, but it would involve maybe more of an open, outside of the box thinking, which is just scary when you think about anything that's EA related right now. But who knows? We're getting the remaster.
They were very clear to say there is a veteran team working on the next chapter of Mass Effect. They were a veteran.
I'm almost
team.
positive they've said that they're just disregarding Andromeda.
and they're making the.
Oh yeah, Andromeda is going to be like the DMC. It's going to be like nobody. It will never be.
They have a
talk about
veteran team working on the content.
Yeah.
The content.
Yeah.
In 10 years, when you want to play Andromeda on your PS6, if someone's looking to play the content, you'll have to use a legacy console.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
Speaking of space, do you guys mind if we talk? And I don't know, are we all caught up? The Mandalorian?
I am not. I'm 3 episodes behind. I'm going to be watching tomorrow.
Three
night with
episodes
my
behind.
buddy.
There's 4.
Yeah, you're pretty much.
I watched the first 2 episodes,
Oh,
but
okay.
Okay. There's a new one that
we can
dropped.
talk about general impressions of the first.
Okay.
I'll
And
just
if
say
you
right
want to
now.
allude to just vaguely things, that's fine, but
Okay.
no specific stuff, please.
Okay.
Of the
Hey,
second 2
Zach,
episodes.
let me tell you this.
I've seen the episode.
Yeah.
I've seen the first episode with. This kind of sums it up. I don't really remember. And then I saw the second one with the spiders.
Let's reference a podcast that was filmed not so long ago in a world, a galaxy far, far away. When I asked Zach to watch The Mandalorian season 1, and I'd watch The Leftovers. Zach did it. Are you glad that you did it? And are you glad you're watching season 2?
Yes. The first one, I had a good time with it. I enjoyed it. And I came away starting to have the thoughts of like, wow, I had such a good time with that I might have liked that better than the new sequels, like the movies, like the experience of Star Wars and stuff. And what is Star Wars now? And we're in this like back and forth fighting of that. So season 2, I'm all caught up, but I'll just talk to the spider episode you saw, Travis. I really think this is the best stuff, the stuff I've enjoyed after the original trilogy. I like it more than the new movies. I like it better than, of course, the prequel movies. I've had a really great time with it. And I'll allude to stuff, and Travis, you already know about it. I won't like spoil it or whatever, but on the Mega 64 podcast, I hadn't thought of this, and I was like, oh yeah, I hope that they don't go this way. But they talked about how in the newer episodes, there's tie-in stuff with other stuff in the universes.
There's stuff from like probably Rebels.
Yeah, they're starting to spread that out. Some people might be excited about this, but on the Mega 64 podcast, and I was like, oh, I feel the same way. I feel like the reason I liked this new one so much was it wasn't as chained to the original trilogy. Every single thing that comes out feels like we have to talk about Luke. We have to talk about whatever. Everybody's a bounty hunter. Everybody's this, everybody, it all tied back to the same lore stuff. And it's like, there's more to this world. There's more fun things you can do. And that's what I really liked. I came away from season 1 going is like, wow, it's just this, even though it kind of looks like Jango Fett, it's all this with the Mandalorian or whatever, at least it's its own journey and it's not tied to like Jedis and the Sith and whatever else. It's like, I want to know a new world. I want to know what's going on in this new world and Star Wars universe. And that's what I've really loved about season 2 is more of that fun. And I love the spider episode because it was like everything that could have gone wrong went wrong. And I love that. It's like, how are you going to get out of that? That's good storytelling. Is it getting worse and worse to the point? It's like, how are you going to get out of that? That's great storytelling.
Honestly,
amazing storytelling.
Yeah.
So my issue with the newer episodes is it hasn't bothered me that much, but because I don't actually know who some of these people are that people are freaking out about. My worry, and what they were talking about on their podcast was why this is so good is that it's so separated from all these different universes. Like, just make your own thing. And that's what I've loved about Baby Yoda and all this other stuff. Like, at least it's its own like little journey it's going on. If you're like, oh, we're going to meet this character from this blah, blah series or this series, blah, blah.
Yeah.
I guess you can do that, but I thought we got out from under, having to live in the shadow of all these other ones. But man, that's my opinion. But I love season 2. I've had an amazing time with season 2.
I think that I understand it, but I think it misses the mark on what the Mandalorian is trying to do, which is expand the current universe that we know. And I think they did a good job with that in season 1. What season 2 is really doing is how do I say this? It's doing what Last Jedi and what the last 2 movies couldn't do, which was continue a very good story and have really high potential without doing too much fan service. Because what the other 2 movies failed to do was they just constantly gave what they thought the fans would want, which is more Skywalker.
Well, Last Jedi, I don't agree with that at all.
Well, that's just my opinion, but that's okay. Everyone's entitled to an opinion. But anyways, they get like lightsabers, more Jedi fights, high speed, blah, 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 blah. Where I think Mandalorian, what they're doing is they look at like, we have a really good set base of characters. And then in all the past content of Star Wars that we've ever released, there are characters who are really significant, but may not have shined or may not have done these really big things that play a big role though. And how can we tie them into this? And that's what I think is happening right now is there are people who existed during this period of time that played a huge role in transition into the next stage of Star Wars that they're tying into this. And I love it. I'm eating it up because it's not like they're centering the entire series around it. No, the premise is really clear. The Mandalorian is looking for his kind. He's asking everyone he can. That's the whole
And
premise.
if that became still the main thread, they just have these little side characters, that's fine. If it becomes a major thing and they're like, oh, that guy showed up, this guy showed up, it's like, oh God, like
that's when I would blame
that's when
poor writing.
I have a
when I
few
fell
thoughts. I have a few thoughts, and I think I know, like, I don't know the specific people, but I've seen screenshots and people. It's hard to avoid everything with this show, so like I'm aware somewhat. So on the front of what this show is, Zach, and your fear. So Dave Filoni, who made Star Wars Clone Wars TV show, made Star Wars Rebels TV show, and he also writes and directs on this show. His thing on all the shows he's done is each show is going to be its own cast, it's going to be its own central premise, but it will in some way service the overall lore of Star Wars. And there are certain characters, Ahsoka Tano is one. And I didn't watch Clone Wars or Rebels really, so I don't really know who she is, but I just
Great
know
shows. You should watch
she's
them.
a character that has been like a thread through all of the shows. There's a couple bounty hunter like Cad Bane, or there's just different people that once again I don't know very well, but he just has these certain like good luck charm kind of characters that he threads through all of the shows he works on. So I think that there's like a bounty hunter girl or something that's coming back. I don't really know who she is, but I think she's just kind of one of those people. So I'm cool with that. That's Dave Filoni's thing, whatever. Zach, I'm going to echo something you're saying. I'm going to say it this way. If you walk outside your house, go to the grocery store, and you see somebody you know, could be like dumb luck, right? Oh, hey, what's going on, Keith? You know, whatever. If every time you go to the grocery store, you see somebody you know, you might live in a small town. And if every time you go to the grocery store, you see the damn mayor and like the person that's famous from your town, and then you might truly be in like a Truman Show type scenario. And Star Wars too often is the Truman Show, where I understand the cameras are on this person for the reasons, you know, but it just seems like whether they are a Jedi or whether they're not a Jedi or whether they are involved in the Force or they're not, it just seems like you can't really go too many aisles down the supermarket before you see the two guys from the bar in A New Hope, or before you see Yoda, not Baby Yoda, but Yoda, or before you see, you know, whoever character XYZ. So I am with you, Zach. I think the more it's people we don't know, the better. I will say, I think The Mandalorian, even with that, has a lot of fan service of a different type, in that they bring in a lot of the creatures and just different things. They make little verbal references to like Sarlacc pits and stuff. And I think that's because Jon Favreau is a really big Return of the Jedi original trilogy fan. So
that doesn't really bother me versus what you just said was a perfect description. I'm okay if you use the same races or, you know, I forgot the Tusken Raiders and stuff. It's like, those are so faceless. They don't have like, oh, that's Tusken Raider, or there's that guy.
But when it's like, and I think that I like all of the new movies. Actually, I like all of them. There's a couple of them that I love, but I like all of them. But every one of those movies has something where I just go, geez. Even Rogue One, which is one of my favorites, has like they run into the guys from the bar in A New Hope, and I know some people laughed and had a good time with that. But it's just like we're in the middle of this war movie. It's serious. Like, why do we need like this nonsense happening? So that's, I will say
it's the charm of it. I don't see it being a negative.
It is what it is. Right. But I prefer as much as it can be its own thing as possible. But I will say, I think out of the three of us, I probably like The Mandalorian the least. And that's not to say I don't like it.
I thought you were a major Star Wars guy. How am I liking this the best?
I've actually had a really good time in that. I have a couple buddies that are big Star Wars fans also, and we get together and we watch them in 2 or 3 episode blocks. And I always have fun. And we talk and we watch like the artwork. I love how they do that. They do the artwork after the episodes, and it's fun. And and the music, God, the music's probably the best thing to come out of this show. But Baby Yoda's the best thing to come out of the show. But I will say, it doesn't leave me. Star Wars always has left me with some kind of like a a moral conundrum, not conundrum like it's gray area, but just like, oh, that was a great, like just a great resonating message. And this is more like an adventure serial. Like it's like a 30-minute cartoon you throw on. Oh, they're fighting the ice monsters this week. Oh, they're doing this. And I like all that stuff. Like I'm good with it and I'm having fun with it. But I can't help. This comparison stuck in my brain because last year when Mandalorian and Witcher came out, I watched them at the same time.
Yeah.
And I came away saying these are two shows in fantasy settings about a bounty hunter protecting a young girl or a young alien. And I came away thinking the depth of The Witcher is so much better than what you get from something like The Mandalorian. And they have different goals. That like it just
I prefer
people like rave about The Mandalorian. It's like I like it and I'm having fun with it, but I have to ask myself, if you strip away the Star Wars aesthetic, would I watch this? I really don't know if the answer to that is yes. And that's maybe not fair because so much of this stuff is the aesthetic of Star Wars.
That's the point.
I think why
it's
I like
a
it more.
World, you like being there, but like as far as like the characters, I don't actually really care about the Mandalorian, the guy. Like I just don't. There's been nothing to make me care.
I
you know what I mean? I don't mean to be a downer, but like
the reason I like it, I think the reason I like it, coming from somebody that just has not. I'm not deep into Star Wars, and I've really loved this show. Is that this is like you said, like you asked if you took all the Star Wars stuff or whatever. It's made me actually enjoy this lore again. It's made me enjoy the Tusken Raider. It's made me like hyped on this stuff. Versus the newer movies didn't really make me do that as much as the show has. And something my wife said, and I totally agreed with her. She was like, we were watching. She's like, this is a video game.
Yeah, it is.
And Witcher kind of felt like that, of course, because it was, parts of it is video game in their universe. But it starts out, hey, I need to do this task. Well, if you help me with this task, then this task, and I'll help you with that task. Oh, okay, well, we'll go on the side quest and we'll get you to the main quest. And that's what every episode is. And as far as like, I'm eating pizza and I'm just sitting back and enjoying something with my wife, I've had a good time.
It's fun.
And I've actually got to enjoy the show. But all your complaints are definitely, I could see.
Yeah, and I guess I don't mean to complain because I don't actually think this needs to be some big sweeping narrative with deep characters. Like it is an adventure serial. Like it's just, that is what it is. It's more just, I don't like, it doesn't stick with me maybe the way for others it seems to stick. Like I watch it and I have fun, but like I don't know that I'm ever going to play these episodes again on my own time. So, but that's okay. It's just fun. So I need to catch up though, because I do like watching the show.
Well, good thing you have an extended break to do so. I love it. I really
Is there a break? Are they not?
No, like I'm just saying like work.
Oh yeah. A couple of days off.
You got a couple of days off. So I enjoy it. I love watching.
I love a Mandalorian game. That'd be fun.
I don't know how I feel about that.
Just Deadly Premonition.
Watch the game, yeah.
Watch the show.
Oh well, anyone can do that, I guess. So all
right.
right.
You said you had to go.
I think we're getting to the end. I was gonna say, do we have anything else you guys want to cover, or do you feel like we're kind of there?
Let me just talk about that Pro Mare movie, and I think I want to mention the Game Awards stream at the end, and that's it.
And there's one other news story I thought would be good.
Okay. Do you want to? You'll start out the news story, and we'll go.
Yeah, I'll just mention this. Okay. I saw that IO Interactive, who makes the latest Hitman games, which are by all accounts really good.
Yeah,
making a James Bond game. I just want to say, I'm totally down for a new James Bond game.
It's been since 2012. We've had
James Bond. James Bond is one of my favorite. I don't think we've ever really talked about James Bond on the podcast.
No, I don't think we have.
Growing up, I owned every single VHS, all 26 or 27 movies. I watched them all the time as a kid.
What's the best one? Where do I start?
Oh, we're going down a rabbit hole.
Just tell me one of the movie.
I think that Casino Royale is the Breath of the Wild in a way that it makes it hard to even go back to some of the other ones. Casino Royale is great, but if you want like a classic Bond movie, I like For Your Eyes Only, which is a great Roger Moore one. I like From Russia with Love. I like Dr. No a lot, which is the original.
I told you one. You gave me 18. This must be.
I like GoldenEye.
Wait, what about Austin Powers, the spy who
I love Austin Powers too.
I
love Austin Powers.
That's my favorite James Bond. But people who made Hitman's making a new James Bond.
Yeah, and
that's a great great team to make that. What a good,
It's a great
good
pairing,
selection.
and honestly, they could use it because their last couple games, while they get really good reviews, they don't sell well.
They
Hitman
don't.
just doesn't sell, and I think doing a franchise game is probably the right move for
Just
them.
make a new Hitman game and put James Bond's skin on it, and they'll sell like 1 billion copies.
Yeah, it's like V-Bucks. It's all like
It'll be like
V-Bucks.
V-Bucks. Cool.
So it is exciting.
I've only watched one movie, Promare. So Promare is an anime from Studio Trigger, who did Gurren Lagann. Gurren Lagann being my second favorite anime of all time, behind
You need to watch Full Metal Alchemist, by the way, Zach. You just need to do it. You'll love it.
Okay, I'll watch it when you watch Leftovers.
Ooh.
But I watched Promare, and the whole premise of this movie is there are fires in the city. I forgot they call them the burning or they whatever. But then you have the firemen. The firemen are putting out these fires or whatever. But like, you find out, you go through, it's like, oh, well, who are the firemen? Who is whatever? The animation is unbelievable. The animation is
top tier.
They are just, I don't watch a lot of newer anime as much as I would like. I like Attack on Titan and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But man, this is unbelievable animation. It was making me like giddy, just like kind of Gurren was and Kill la Kill and all this kind of newer stuff I have seen. Very good. I wish it would have gone a little bit deeper into character stuff. I wish it would have sat in the world a little bit more. But that's kind of like, that's the push and pull between me and like TV and movies anyways. Because the TV, you get to sit for like several episodes of these characters. And it didn't sit too long with and I wish that would have developed a little bit more. But animation's great. I had a good time. And the what I did get to see of the character stuff was fine. But that's all I saw. And I'm sticking to it. So Fireman. If you like Fireman and anime, might be the one for you.
What a month.
What a great month. New
crazy.
consoles, new kittens.
I'm thankful for video games.
Yeah. What is everybody thankful for? You said video games. It has to be video game related. It only has to be video game related. You can't be thankful for anything not video games.
Oh. Thankful for GameStop and their crappy company.
I'm thankful for the adaptive controllers on the PlayStation.
And I'm thankful that our partners at Google Stadia have hooked us up.
Gosh almighty. Well, that's our podcast. I do want to say we will all 20 of the DweeBros. Do we have an army of 20 yet? I'll have to get people off the streets. Game Awards. The Game Awards stream. I dress up every year in a suit and a tie. These guys have never followed me. This year, I think they will. I believe it in my heart because you're stuck at home. What are you going to do anyways? You can put a suit and tie on, dust it off, take it to the dryer cleaners. We're doing our Game Awards stream. Is it December 5th, 6th?
Are you guys ready for
I don't know
the game of the year to clean
I know.
house?
Yeah, I can't wait for Among Us to win it all.
Yeah, right.
December 10th.
You guys know what's coming. You guys know what's coming.
December 10th at 7 p.m.
Yeah.
We will be streaming.
It's about to be a clean sweep.
We're going to be streaming, and whose game is going to win, who's going to be fighting virtually. Tune in and see. But thank you for watching. This has been the DweeBros. We hope that I don't know when this is going to come. I think it's going to come after Thanksgiving. Hope you had a great Thanksgiving.
Yeah, seriously. Enjoy it. Be safe. Be smart.
Be safe. Be smart. Whatever you choose to do. And we hope that you've enjoyed the content.